and chicken meat from farmers. So where do we want to go? With the support of partners such as Kelcop and Ifad, we want to increase our capacity from the current 500 birds per day, because it's really, really small, to do 500 chickens per hour. Working at the 8-hour shift, we get 4,000 chickens per day, because we have a market for that. As we currently slaughter 500, we normally have to buy from other vendors like Kenchick in order to meet our market demand. We're also targeting to onboard 20,000 farmers into our model through our digital application. We call it e-poultry by 2025. We want to leverage the success of the model as we've seen it in Kisumu and Vihiga County and replicate it into Siaya, Kisii, Migori, Nyamira, and Homa Bay, and also other counties where Kelcop is operating. We also want to expand the market by venturing into markets that are outside Western Kenya, because currently we are predominantly operating in Western Kenya. We also want to leverage technology in order to promote precision poultry farming. This will reduce wastages, reduce mortality, and also increase the profit that the farmer is making at the tail end. And we are also, as a company, we are really striving to address the funding challenges that is plaguing young poultry farmers in Western Kenya. So what is the problem that we've realized? As we've been operating for the past 8 years, there is one fundamental problem that poultry farmers are facing. This is access to the market. And as a company, we are really striving to ensure we address market access to poultry farmers. That's why under the Kelcop program, we want to come in component 2 to ensure that poultry farmers, even other partners are going to give them chicks and all other things, they have a sure bet of where they are going to take these products after they are mature. As we've seen, you cannot talk about poultry and impact poultry farmers addressing the market challenge. So what is our proposed solution? We are offering 3 solutions, as some of these things we are currently doing and we've been doing for the past 8 years to create a model we have developed called entrepreneurship, and also further creating new markets as a company. For free, not at a cost. And on these screens, they are using to sell chicken and chicken products such as eggs, chicken sausages, chicken smokies, and marinated roasted chicken. You see, like one of our entrepreneurship guys there is at work. We already have some working around in Kisumu, so this is not an abstract concept. Your sisters get for credit to start production, because bank consider them high risk. They are startups. And even those who are not even startups, the bank will ask them for things like collateral that they do not have. So as a business, we are normally striving to sure that these farmers that we are trading, most of the youth, we try to make them bankable. Currently, we are running something called a credit guarantee scheme, where we give a check-off system where we give the youth inputs. But before we give the youth input, we train them and also attach them to a bank and ensure we give you inputs, you go produce. When we come and harvest, we recoup our money that we used to give you the inputs and only pay you the surplus that you've made in terms of profit. But this surplus is given to you through a bank account. We insist on bank account because we want to build a bank history for them to make them bankable, so that next time they can go and borrow for themselves and just continue production. As a company, we do not have infinite resources to continue doing this for a long time. So what we are asking for is a credit guarantee that through the program, they can identify a local bank, be it KCB or any other local bank in the country, and lodge some money with them. We don't want them to give us the money, no. We keep the money with the bank and just give the bank some instruction that if chicken basket comes with documentation that they have collected money from farmers, they have collected chicken from a farmer, use that documentation to pay the farmer the chickens collected directly to the farmer. But this debt that you've issued to the farmer will be serviced by chicken basket, because us, we have the financial muscle to do the same. And because the bank are seeing these farmers as a high risk, us as a company with resources and structures and collateral, they can see us as a less riskier as considered to these farmers. But what will this benefit? This will ensure the farmers, first of all, are very bankable. It will create a banking history for the farmer, will make it easy for them to borrow in future. And number 2, it ensures that we as a company are able to pay farmers cash on collection. This will ensure that outside there are no empty chicken coops as farmers wait for us to process their money. Farmers will do continuous production, which will also improve their livelihood. As a business, this money, we are just going to pay it back as a loan. And if it's 50 million, we will only draw down what we want. If we lodge with them 50 million, and in that month we've collected birds worth 5 million shillings, we'll only draw down the 5 million shillings and service the debt, and the farmer will also have money. So that is what we are humbly requesting for. We are also looking for a solar-powered cold room, because you cannot engage in meat without having storage. So currently our storage is also not efficient. If we can have additional solar-powered storage rooms, this will very ensure that we have fresh products, and also just be able to uptake more chickens from the farmers. So the company seeks at least 3 10 solar-powered cold rooms. 2 of these will be stationed where we are currently, and 1 will be taken to Nairobi, because we are planning to expand our market to Nairobi. So we'll mob chicken from Kelco farmers in the area they're operating and sell at a more lucrative market there. We are also seeking industrial smoky machine, because as I said before, the chomapreneurs we are working with, they are selling eggs, chicken sausages, chicken smokies on those grades. So currently the smokies they are selling, we are buying from Kenchik and giving to the youth. So we want, because preparing a smoky is not a lot of science, it's something very simple. And we all have people and through programs who can come and train our staff on how to effectively make such products. So if we have an industrial smoky, this will also increase, smoky making machine, it will also increase our uptake of pepper chickens that we are getting from farmers. The next thing we are asking for assistance with is certifications. Right now, we notice that we lack all certifications, but we just lack a few. So we are asking for assistance to get the few certifications that we have. Because for a long time, we've not been focusing on that high-end market. As a company, we've been focusing on that middle and low-scale market. We've not even been supplying people like supermarkets. Because for us, we want to pay farmers in cash. Supermarkets will take like 45 days with your money. At a place where we were before, we could not be able to absorb such kind of shock. So we are really focusing on retailer, customer, C2R businesses, C2C, client-to-client businesses. But right now, we think we want to start venturing into supermarkets and also have our products on their shelves. But before we do that, we need to have some various certifications. So we are requesting if you can get assistance to get some of these certifications. On digital infrastructure, this is his brainchild. I'll let him explain.
Thank you once again. I'll be brief on this. So we developed an app in 2021 called ePoultry. ePoultry is on Play Store right now. It was launched. We target to onboard 3,500 farmers by end of this year. We have TOTs on the ground, Siaya, Kakamega, Kisumu, Vihiga, who are clustering farmers right now on the ground, training them and onboarding them on the app. This is going to help us have a very precise aggregation of chicken and data and information to be able to organize payments and be able to make decisions based on how many chickens are where, what stage, what type, and how are we planning our processing and the market. So we came up with this app, and it's not just an app for this. It has a number of solutions. One of the reasons we realize farmers are doing chicken as just a normal business. We are trying to commercialize this. So it has a P&L, a small P&L on it. At the end of every 3 months, a farmer can see how much they have spent in production as long as they key in the data on a daily basis. The farmer can be able to link up the vaccinations are they are Google Calendar marked up. They get alerts a day before the vaccinations to be able to remind them on when the vaccinations are due. The farmers can also be able to, we are introducing the AI weighing scales and the AI counting equipments, because now we weigh the chickens one by one before they are put into the vehicles. Because the market here, they're very specific with the weight that they want in the hotels. So we are also trying to help the farmers to find an easier way of counting their chickens by introducing some smart IoT equipment into the app as well. The app is also able to count the chickens for the farmers. The app is also as an IoT application that we intend to introduce. One of the challenges we are suffering in the Western Kenya is people are breaking into chicken farmers' houses and stealing chicken. There's a lot of burglary going on. So we are introducing smart cameras, which are still being piloted, that have motion sensors that can trigger an alarm in the chicken house, so that if you set it at night, if somebody walks into the chicken house, the motion sensor will alert you and trigger an alarm to be able to alert you as a farmer. That is a solution that's also coming in to take care of burglary. The other solution we are introducing in this app also, we realize that the challenges farmers are having is that the brooding of chicken takes a long time. They stay in the chicken houses. So youths are afraid to venture into chicken farming because they say there's no market, brooding is a problem, burglary is a problem. So we looked at solutions that we can digitalize in the poultry sector. So we are already piloting a temperature sensor for the chicken house that is also integrated in the app, so that as you have your chickens, you just sleep and set it up. When the temperature goes up, it auto-regulates itself. These are special brooding electricity bulbs that are supposed to control the temperature. If it goes low, it auto-regulates itself. Those are some of the measures that we are putting. But under this project, there's one of the key important things under this app that we want to the program to support us on. We would want to track our chicks from the hatchery. As you're aware, we have partnered with Ken Chick for chicks, Cuckoo Chick for chicks, and some of these licensed certified hatcheries. We want to track our chicks all the way from the hatcheries to the hands of the farmer, and from the farmer back to us as Chicken Basket, and all the way to the table by using this QR code. So that when you get the chicken branded at the supermarket or sale, you can actually scan the QR code and see where the chicken has come from, the name of the farmer, the location, and all those things that are going into it. So we would want support on blockchain technology to be able to integrate this app to track all these chickens, because when we start aggregating chicken, there are also issues of biosafe that comes in, issues of safe food that comes in, issues of health that comes in, bearing in mind that we are going to be aggregating a lot of chickens from the farmers. So issues of health and the nature of the meat also have to come in here. So we would want to request that we get support to be able to trace all these chickens all the way up to the point they come to the table without having any issues. So those are some of the things that we're looking at. And then not also just that. Right now we are doing check-off system. This app basically is an agri-fintech. If you look at it here, it says borrow, purchase, manage, and sell. Last year alone, we managed to contract about 800, physically contracting 800 youth farmers, because we buy grown chickens from them. Most of them who sold for us grown chickens are unable to go and borrow from the farmers, because they are still young farmers who are done 2, 3, 4, 5 cycles. And I realize if the banks are not willing to finance them because of collateral, now that we are already implementing a check-off system for them, and some of them, we've been with them for over 3, 4 years, we know them, why don't we come up with a product that probably the bank can buy into, because already we have our guys on the ground working with them. So the farmers should be able not to borrow money, but to be able to have a check-off system where we give them inputs of appraisal, and they get the support, and they sell to us back all the chickens. That is also what we are looking at in the e-poultry. So e-poultry is on a Play Store, but we want to scale it up. So we want also to integrate it, link it up completely with the tally system we're using in the office. Because if we link it up with tally system, we should be in a position to get data to be able to make decisions in the company. So these are also ICT areas that we are also seeking support from in the program.
Thank you so much, Abisai. So what are the areas of partnership as Chicken Basket we are seeing that are there with the Kelco program? Number one, training. We are doing a lot of training, and we've been training for the past 8 years. As my partner said, we currently have TOTs in 5 counties, and in each county we have 5, which means there are 25 outside there. These are our full-time staff currently training at our own expense. So we are seeking to train farmers, and our training is different from the training farmers normally receive, because as we train farmers with a commercial aspect to it. I go to a farmer, tell a farmer, don't keep 20 birds, those are pets. If you want to do this as a business, keep at least this number. With this number, you are going to be able to break even. With this number, this is the exact amount of profit you are going to make. With this number, this is the amount of money you need in production, in purchase of inputs and everything. So our training is a bit different from the training farmers normally receive outside there. Second thing is area of mentorship. We want to mentor youths. As you see, this business is run by very young people, and many youth outside there are languishing and looking for employment. Employment opportunities are also very scarce. So we want to tell them that poultry is a business. You can get yourself employed because it is sustaining us. It's sustaining all our 40 employees. Why not sustain yourself through poultry farming? So we want to mentor them for these things every single day, so that when they go back to their places, they can also start a sustainable venture. Because if they come to Chicken Basket, they're going to learn about production of chicks, they learn about the processing, they learn about the selling. And as a company, what we're not presenting here, because here we just came for the poultry value chain, we also in other value chains. We are in bee, we are also in African leafy vegetables, so they can choose where they want to fall in. We are going to partner with the program through off-taking this is providing a market for the poultry farmers who are going to be beneficiaries of Kelco, so that they are going to have peace of mind that they have a reliable partner who will uptake their products at that maturity. But for those we are off-taking from, we like to always trace our product. So where did you get these chicks? Are we the ones that supplied you with these chicks? We supply you with the chicks, we supply you with the inputs, we supply you with the human capital, because we don't want you to run into serious losses where you take a nephew or a niece of yours who has relatively little knowledge in poultry production to keep for you the birds, and they all end up dying. So we give you the human capital to ensure that production runs smoothly. Extension services. We have extension services, and even from the app that my partner just shared, there's a module called e-extension, where farmers outside there who are already been onboarded on those apps can order for an extension, for certified extension officers, as the way you can order for Bolt or Uber, because we are going to onboard these extension officers onto that particular app, because we realize that there are several quacks outside there who are confusing poultry farmers with very, very fake products, with very, very fake medication, making them have very, very high rates of mortality and low yield from their hard work. So from that e-extension, farmers will be certified that whenever they get an extension officer from that app, this is a skilled, a trained, and a certified person that they are dealing with. We are also trying to mobilize and cluster the farmers, because for us as a company that aggregates, we don't want to spend a lot of resources traveling a long area to collect chicken. We want to cluster these farmers. As you know, today we are going to teach farmers in that area. We know we are going to get 5 groups. Each group has 25 farmers, and even during aggregation, the same thing happens. So it makes the process easier. We have said before, we also want to replicate this model to take it away from Kisumu and Vihiga to all the counties where Kelco is working from. And we are currently toying with the idea of also taking it to the dry areas, because chicken does not need a lot of water. So if at all the people in the arid areas can also embrace poultry as just a way of diversifying their income. Another thing is brooding. What we realize is that, as my partner told you, most youths do not want to enter into poultry because of the challenges that comes at brooding stage. You see, when you are brooding chicken, the chicks, the day-old chicks, they need a lot of attention. So you need to be at least 2 people who sleep in shifts to ensure that the chickens are effectively taken care of. So under brooding, we want to give youths 1-month-old birds. 1-month-old birds are easier to maintain as opposed to day-old birds. And then when we saw that in a study we did with our farmers, when you give new farmers day-old birds, by the time of harvesting, you are going to realize like there's around 10% mortality when you are harvesting the chickens from them. But you give them 1-month-old, by the time you are picking the chicken from them, it's only like less than 1% mortality. So we saw that with the new farmers, the ones we are onboarding right now, even the 800 that he talked about, we are giving them month-old chicken. And we are also going to partner in area of ICT and digital integration, as my partner explained. So what is the economic?
Thank you very much. I'm very, very excited to hear, because number one, the youth involvement in your business model is very strong. Just a quick one on the trauma element, the trauma pillar of your business. I was wondering how do you ensure food safety? Because that is food that is going to Mwananchi directly, so that you don't jeopardize your operations. And I don't know whether you have factored in long-term food safety measures, like a cold value chain, because you're going to be dealing with poultry from different locations, because that could be one of the risk areas or areas of challenge for your price. So it is assumed that you should focus on it, but the planet part to me did not come out. So I'm just wondering, as an enterprise, how do you integrate environment and social governance measures? Because this is what we now want, even as Ifad, before we engage with private sector companies like you, we need to see whether you have an ESG system in place, that helps to kind of manage environmental and social aspects of risks. So that's as far as our safeguards are concerned. Then secondly, on the job creation, I think it's quite interesting that you're engaging the youth, but I wanted to get a bit more. Where are these youth coming from? Because I think for us, it would be interesting to have this youth coming from the project sites, you know? So that, because one of our, of course we haven't yet engaged you formally, but I would want to explore whether, if, assuming that you are engaged, would you consider working with youth that the project is working with, or within the households that the project is working? I mean, so long as they meet your basic criteria, because we also want to create jobs for youth and women within the project. Then you talked about the e-poultry, and within the e-poultry, I was just wondering, what is the breadth of the advisory services that you're providing? You know, when you say you're providing extension, who is your back-end provider of the technical aspects of this extension? Because remember, at the county level, extension is also a function that is played at the county by the government, but we know that most of the times they are too stretched. They are not able to, you know, to cover the entire county. So the question is, who is your back-end technical provider, and how much does it cost, or is it a free service to the farmer? And how does that cost relate to probably what they would pay if they were to rely on the public system? So that's the other thing. Then from your presentation, it came off, I could be wrong, but you could correct me. It came off as if your ambition is to be vertically integrated. So like to provide all the services to the farmers from end to end. And for a project like this that is also working on similar elements like you're doing, does it mean then that the farmers who are part of this project, if they were to come and work with you, then you'd, because you said that you want to buy from farmers whom you have provided chicken, whom you have provided extension, whom you have provided. So if a farmer is getting these other services from wherever and the quality is good or meets your standards, does it mean that they would not be part of the farmers you buy from? Then lastly, this is where I had a bit of it feels like from your ask, the ask is very much, because one thing, you're a private sector, and the funds that have come to this project are government loan money paid by taxpayers. But again, from what you're requesting, you know, the transport system, the machines, now you want the taxpayer to also build the business for you. So I found that a bit uncomfortable. So if you could...
for that farmer to get a bank account, he must have a PIN, personal identification number, with KRA. We have engaged the KRA for the pastoral farmers. Can we exempt that? Because it is the role of government to ensure they provide that conducive environment. And they agreed. They are registering the pastoralists in northern Kenya, the Bonasa counties, to open a bank account without personal identification number. And that is making business conducive for its existence. Finally, the only place that I saw that you're operating at the moment is Siaya, which is within the county, within the project area. But the rest is, I don't see, the rest is Kisumu, Kisii, Migori, Nyamira, Homa Bay. Oh my God. I don't know whether the project will allow to go outside the project area to support somebody in Homa Bay. I don't know myself. I don't know whether the Ifad or the project will explain to us whether you will get out of the 10 counties project areas. I don't know. But we need to be very careful that this is not the project is not a financial institution. Absolutely not. Thank you.
First, and then we get the next one.
As we pass over the mic, I just want to emphasize on the funding aspect. Surely, that can be a liability to the government. And we are not sure that will remain a going concern for how long, we don't know. Then this is a loan which we are going to pay back, as it was already said. So I think from my end, there is too much request for financial assistance to the company. And that may mean that we are not really getting the resources to the intended beneficiary. Do we finance you now at the beginning, or is it after you are even sure that you are able to get the adequate chicken from the farmers who have contracted for the farmers? That's a main concern, everyone.
Okay, so I'll start before the other ask their question. Let me start with Edith. On ESG, as a company, we are really trying, because currently, even if you walk out of here right now and go to our business premise that is like 10 minutes out of here, it is fully operating on solar. The slaughtering, the lighting, everything is on solar. When you go to our farms, they are running on solar power. When you go, even the brooding, we are not breeding with GECO because of the carbon emission. We are using briquettes. The solar that we installed at our company cost us around 7.5 million. So we are very cognizant on that. We are really trying to reduce our carbon footprint on this wonderful planet of ours. On the source of the youths, as we said, we currently have TOTs who are training youths. We have them in Kisumu, we have some in Vihiga, we have 5 of them in Kakamega, in Siaya. So in areas where the project is going to go, we are going to go. Because as a business, as we are looking for posterity, we are not just confined to Western Kenya. I'm looking for a day when I'll be able to wake up and trade chicken basket shares on our stock exchange. We want to have a national company that even can go beyond our borders. So that's why where the program is going to go, we are going to be there. Right now, we've been sending messages to Farmer WhatsApp group. We are currently looking for 10,000 kienyeji chicken because they are not there. Currently, we are buying them from anywhere we can find them. We go to Kitale, we go to Siaya, we send vehicles. Like last time we sent a vehicle to Siaya because a farmer told us they have 800. We sent a whole truck there and it came back with only 8 chicken. So we are buying from anywhere. When we have wiped out from our farmers, we buy from all those other farmers who are producing chicken. On advisory services, we have on board, as part of our staff, a certified veterinary officer. Veterinary surgeon is part and parcel of our staff. Dr. Eric is the one who goes around to vaccinate chickens. He's a certified vet and we are paying him expensively because we know we cannot do shortcuts for that. On vertical integration, the main reason why as a company we normally try to focus a lot on vertical integration, because I'm sure even in this sitting, there are several people who have tried to practice poultry farming and failed. Do you know why doing poultry is difficult? Because of what we can say, the relatively small margins that you get from the product, the unstable market, the competition, and all such kind of things. So what are we doing as a business? To ensure our farmer gets value for money, and as a business, we are also able to retain our staff and pay them. We make a small percentage of profit from the input. When we give our farmer a bag of chicken feed, with even increasing a margin, putting our margin on that bag, the price the farmer is paying for it at our company is still lower than what they are paying if they walk to an agrovet close to them to buy. So we get a small percentage on the input, we get a small percentage on the medication, we get a small percentage on the eggs, we get a small percentage on the chicken meat. So overall, if we want to make a gross profit of 25% as a company, it comes from all these to small parts. And the farmer, the other side, is benefiting because they are still paying little as compared to what they would have paid if they go directly to the agrovet. So on financing, I'm aware that our presentation is asking for financing, and we are viewing this project as a financial. What we are doing, because as Chicken Basket, we've seen the potential that is outside there, because we've been doing this consistently, growing from 100 bird capacity farm. We were just a farmer to have a fully fledged companies. Right now, I don't know, I can't just disclose the asset base. We have really grown. But we see these farmers and we've foreseen the problem that they are going to face, because we've also seen other programs such as this that were there in the past. You find that when these farmers have been issued these products, chicks and everything, they have gotten all the extension services, all of them will have chicken at once. It was extremely low. There was a time, there was a program that was running in Western Kenya. The price of a Kienyeji chicken dropped from around 700 to 300 shillings, a full chicken. What happened to the farmers who were given those products? The program was very good. They built chicken houses for the farmers. They gave them the chicks. They gave them the input. When the farmer sells a grown chicken at 300, they were not able to do the second phase. They were not able to restock their chicken houses. So if you walk around, you find very many homesteads where there are a lot of empty chicken coops as a result of that. So as a business, what are we saying? We have the ability to absorb, but currently, as I said, we do not have the capacity to do all that. As a business, at whatever level we're operating at right now, we can only take 500. But what if we take 500 from an area where there are 10,000 farmers who have benefited? Who will take care of the other farmers? So that's why we are asking if we could only be assisted to increase the capacity, not for us, but for the farmer. Because for us, we are concerned about the continual existence of that farmer on the ground, because this is a business and it's a going concern for us. As a part for donors and NGOs who the program have got a timeline, as we want that farmer who has benefited from KELCOP to continue producing even after KELCOP. Because for me to list in the stock exchange, that farmer must continue be in production. And for us to fight that poverty from the farmer, he should not just do poultry in one cycle and then in the next cycle he cannot. So if we have the capacity to uptake all this, the farmer will continuously be in production. And then we go to, I think I've talked about finance and everything. Now we go to chomapreneurship. So on food safety of chomapreneurship, we are offering them training. One of the training is on food handling. And if you look at that image, all the package that comes with chomapreneurship, we are even providing them a cooler box that where they store the chicken before they roast it. Because as a company, if somebody, God forbid, eats, because the grease you see there are branded, that is a must. The training is a must before they are released outside there to go and sell. And those youth, on every youth, we have a supervisor. They are not operating freelance. No, we have supervisors who are part of our staff that are monitoring what these youths are doing, because youths are very transient people. Somebody leo atakuwa anafanya chomapreneurship, are continuously in business and are operating according to our set standard operating procedures for that chomapreneurship model.
Just to wind up and to add on what my just to add, the youths also, one of the mandatories in the franchise agreement, they must have a public health license certification. So we send them to Lumumba Hospital, they get tested, they must come with that, it's part of the mandatory. So on the cold chain issue also, we transport our chickens live to our processing place. So just to let you know, we don't slaughter them backyard. So from the farmers, we transport live. We slaughter, we have a number of certifications from the county government. We have halal certified, our meat is halal certified, we have a Muslim. So the certifications we are looking for are just that we are not operating. We're just saying, if we come in the project, can we be just capacity built to be able to fit into the project? Yeah, and also lastly, on the extension officer question under e-poultry she asked about, I would like to answer the question. The extension app that we are using on the e-poultry, it cuts across both government officers and private people who are practicing extension services. I realize it's very expensive to have these extension officers at full-time. Our veterinary surgeon is very expensive to have him on board, Dr. Eric, but he oversees over 10 permanent other extension officers who go to train and give technical support. To keep hiring them as the company is growing is very expensive to support Siaya and all these other counties. So these guys are supposed to move into the app. Farmers are supposed to request. Once they are onboarded, farmers will get the services and then they are paid right there because it's M-Pesa integrated. So this is basically to onboard anybody within those locations who is an extension officer, animal health production officers, livestock officers, anybody in that category. So I hope that answers your question. It's not just for chicken basket. It cuts across all other poultry farmers across who need services that are not available. Because you know, since the new constitution came in, a lot of these guys have retired and the government has not rehired. So there's a serious need of extension officers on the ground to support the farmers during the production.
Did I answer all your questions? No. Okay.
We have structures and policies and procedures. Even in the hubs that we've set up to replicate, we've not hired from Kisumu. We've hired locally in those areas because we have systems and structures that are operating. So we will work with farmers from there. We will hire from those locations. Just transfer the knowledge into the people within the same locality. So that one you can be assured, even where we've set up.
Who are staying in Sia. Even whenever we open restaurants, we prefer to have the service ladies and waitresses and chefs to be people who are coming from there. So we just hire there. It is cheaper for us.
Okay. No, thank you. First of all, let me congratulate you on your business model. I think I find it very exciting. And I see a lot of potential in this. But you also need to think big if you want to succeed. When you started the presentation, it was like, I was super excited. This is an off-taker providing services. But then when you started providing a list of things that you need, it became a little bit concerning. But that notwithstanding, I think this is one avenue we can really work with, in my own view. Being that it's for private sector financing, I will link you up to people you can also talk to. When I was in Nigeria, we worked with one company. It's called Babanguna. They got 5 million. But there will never be a perfect situation, but we can have some people to start working with, and then they can expand. So for me, really, I think this is a good opportunity, but you need to think big. Don't just rely on, okay, we want the project to do this, to do that, to do this. No. You should also be able to say that we can get loans from elsewhere and work with the farmers and build their capacities, because that is what you are doing anyway. You can provide extension service for a fee, not for free. I mean, we don't expect you to provide extension service for free. You can provide inputs, you can, for a fee, and then the project will work around the way where you can, if they are doing, I'm just thinking on top of my head, if they are doing like a matching grant in terms of providing the voucher system where the project will pay the 90% and the beneficiaries pay the 10%, this is where you come in, so the project can pay you directly the 90% and the benefit. So things like that. So you will be like that service provider. But don't walk around having the project to provide all of these things for you. It will not work. It will be even difficult for the government to do. But so you have to get your thinking out of that. Otherwise, I think it's an exciting opportunity for the farmers, and we will look forward in discussing better. But also you need to now again talk with the counties, because this, I keep hearing that agriculture is devolved, so you also need to work with the counties so that you get it right. But otherwise, congratulations.
Okay.
I found it very exciting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the advice. We are going to take that and implement it. I'm going to say, when it comes to this financing, we've always ensured we put in our own money. Even if upon this program was to at least say we are going to assist you with this, it is going to be a cost share. Because as a company, we also have the financial resources to say, okay, we want us to train youth. We are going to, for training youth, we are going to give you 50% of the cost, and you take 50% of the cost, because we normally have the resources, and because that is something we are doing. And on the areas that I mentioned, on the slaughterhouse, those were just areas of intervention. Because even as a company, even without Quellcorp right now, we are even engaging currently the Kisumu County government, telling them that this is the problem you are having with our slaughterhouse. Why can't you give us an MOU so that we use your public slaughterhouse that is down there for the processing, so that we currently don't have the money to invest in this kind of heavy duty processing infrastructure. As a county government, you have it and you have done it. Why don't you give us an MOU so that we can use that particular slaughtering facility to increase our ability to slaughter? Those are avenues we are honestly pursuing. Yeah.
Thank you, Chicken Basket. I think we'll work on most of the modalities, and the county government, because the implementer will be involved, how we are going to look at the issue of the cold chain, that will be worked out, so that maybe the money might not go direct, but the government is going to provide a conducive environment for this private sector. That will be able to do. And I think maybe they are not just clear on that they are talking of the slaughterhouse. The government is to provide that so that they are able to use and be able to assist the farmers. So those modalities will be able to work on them so that it becomes clear. With that, if you can break not going out so that we can also interact. There are those counties we are not able to go to. We want also to do their small presentation. Then after that, we'll again continue with the partners after lunch. So if maybe allow that, they can start based on the program, the first county to do the presentation. Switcher, will give. Yeah, I think the Kenchik had requested they had some, so thereafter then we'll go as.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Timothy Molwa. I'm the head of strategy affairs at Friendship Limited, and we are glad to. I'm happy to see poultry. Whenever poultry is mentioned, there's a lot of reaction. That shows the potential in this particular sector. So I'm going to briefly take you through what we improve the livelihood and also support these local farmers. Kenchik is currently the largest integrated poultry business in the region. We are everywhere in Kenya, and we also have operations in Tanzania, Zambia, Uganda. That is our purpose, improving Kenyan livelihood by providing affordable chicken. So under this project, we understand that poultry contributes 30%. It contributes 30% of the agriculture sector, although it's not well coordinated and there are so many challenges around it. Having been in the business for more than 54 years, we have tried. But of course, you know, we have the financial constraints. Again, we can only reach so far. So some of the issues that we picked out that we can relate to this particular project is the inadequate technical support and also know-how of these farmers, poverty rates that are making the farmers not be able to scale up and commercialize their production, and also the quality management systems, whereby we are currently facing issues, and you've heard from some of these research organizations, the AMR issues, antimicrobial resistance. Hospitals are raising issues, not just because people have consumed poultry, but the entire food value chain has been greatly compromised. So it is important for us to make sure that in as much as we improve production of poultry, we make sure that it is being produced in the right manner. And the foremost sector, which is Kenchik, supplies not more than 30% of the chicken eaten in the country. More than 70%, in fact 80%, comes from these farmers. So we need to really up their technical know-how. So of course, I wouldn't want to go back through the project components. You all know about this. So we are going to be focused. We're not going to be everywhere. There's so much scope when it comes to poultry support, but our partnership in this is about enabling to be able to rear poultry in the right manner, and then even in the processing, considering all the food safety requirements, and then also help together with the county governments and the government to link up these farmers with the off-takers. We are some of the off-takers, but we cannot take everything. So what we would like to do is to make sure that these farmers are able to organize in their own ways to reach the market, because we already know who are the final off-takers and what they require. Because what is the reason why the farmer would not sell to a supermarket? Because they don't have some certification. So we want to help in this together with the county government to make sure that farmers are well informed and a way of getting some accreditation for you to be able to sell. So I just mentioned some of this. So the first one is we improve the knowledge on poultry husbandry, meat handling, food safety, and animal welfare. Then adoption of reputable certification. We'll work together with the government to come up with a certification model whereby these farmers can be able to produce to the off-takers and they get to contract them. Then is access to quality technical service. We've been doing this technical services, but even though we are here in the country, we can't reach everyone that they need it. So this project to be able to increase that reach. And then access to quality hen chicks. These are the free-range birds and eggs, which have really gained a lot of popularity, especially in the rural areas, because you can just keep the chick. It's highly resilient. It just survives like the way kienyeji survives. Better growth rates, better egg production. So first, you can be able to address the issue of food within the home, and then any excesses you can sell, commercialize through the organized institutions. And then last one, of course, is improved access to markets. Sorry. So some of the areas of partnership, of course, the first one, we will be able to provide Kembo chicks as required. So we just need to make arrangements with the organizers, and we get to supply when required. So that's a partnership, and we'll see how best we can do this. And after that, we'll conduct routine farm technical visits together with the and offer the expertise required. We already have methods of assessing, but then together with the government, we come up with a certification program whereby these farmers can get certified. Sorry. We will also conduct audits together with the county government officers just to make sure that these farmers are compliant. Offer laboratory services. At the moment, we have a highly certified laboratory at Nairobi. So to start with, we are able to offer laboratory services at our lab for both during the production period, processing, and all what is required within the certifications. But in future, would like to enable this to go, if possible, to all the counties that this program touches on. And then offer technical support to the government on cold chain management, because that has been another big problem. Find that farmers have slaughtered their birds, but since the purchase is not as quick as how they expected it, they end up suffering losses, or even supplying products that are not properly gone through the cold chain process. Of course, we will also partner with the county government to offer detailed training on the extension officers, considering we have the facilities, we have the hatcheries, we have the farms, we also have the broiler farms, so we can take our the extension officers to our facilities. They get real knowledge, and this one has been approved, and it's a matter of agreement, and then we can take them for we will have agreed on it. Then at the last organized meeting between the project team, relevant government agencies, and potential off-takers, just to make sure that they start flow of product throughout the field. Helping equip laboratories. Since we have that expertise in our lab, then we help make sure that all these laboratories that will be open across the counties are running properly. So we work with the regulators just to see how certification of these farmers can be recognized through policy. So that's basically it.
Thank you so much, Anna Timothy. Me, I'm satisfied with this Kenchik presentation, because really your activities is of certification.
Just to ask, I really love Kenchik. Only that I've reduced a bit now, but I have not seen kienyeji chicken in your eateries. Are you starting now, or where are we?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate your presentation, and I understood at the beginning that you are an off-taker, but when you mentioned that you would support a meeting between the project team, relevant government agency, and off-takers, so I got a bit lost, because I thought I had found area of engagement with you, engagement with you as an off-taker. And just building on what Emma has pointed out, maybe we are mistaken, but in the general public, I'm playing the devil's advocate. We know you, Kenchik, for the broilers, you know, the non-kienyeji. In fact, when we go to the supermarket, there is always a separate yes, for only Kenchik. And we know there are those ones which are only 2 weeks old or maybe 4 weeks old, and you're already selling them. But our farmers, we will be focusing on improved indigenous chicken, and whether indeed now, if you clarify that you are with us as an off-taker, then we want to see another value chain within Kenchick, that we will see you selling indigenous chicken in our, at the end, in terms of consumption. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for your questions and also the feedback from the director. To start with, kienyeji. We do have a bird called kendro. Yes, it is a dual purpose bird. It is what we call kienyeji. So it is a free range bird. It has a slightly better growth rate than the normal kienyeji that you find in the backyard, and it is a good egg producer. So it's a dual purpose, and most of the farmers, we've seen a lot of interest coming. We around 5 years ago, and it's really on the upward trajectory. Although we are still facing these challenges of lack of know-how in terms of keeping the birds. So yes, we do, apart from broilers, we do kendro, which you can call kienyeji, and then we do layers. So again, there's also an opportunity if there are layer farmers in this particular area, because production of a layer bird in terms of eggs is higher than the improved kienyeji. But it's based on the conditions. So these are things that we'll look at that level. You don't see a kienyeji in the shops. It's there. You go to shop. Okay, just to clarify something, Kenchick currently does not operate shops. We sell to these retail outlets. If you go to KFC, you go to the rest, you'll get that. So what you ask for, we'll get you. Okay. The other question was on off-taking. Yes, we can off-take, but only to, and how much? We can't off-take everything. So our proposal is not just for us to be off-takers. It is also to connect, because there are other off-takers, like a supermarket is an off-taker. So as long as these farmers are organized well, and they have a proper facility all the way up to production, processing, and packing, and certification, we can easily link them, because we made a decision not to play everywhere. We sell processed chicken, and we also sell day-old chicks. So we don't want to go and fight the markets where farmers end up. So that's why we need to coordinate them, organize them, and then link them with that market properly. Okay? Yeah, I think that's it. Sorry? From a commercial perspective, we sell Kenbro. So we'll still sell Kenbro. Let them compete us at the markets. The best will take it. But as long as you are selling Kenbro, there's no reason why you should not support them to sell their final product. Because if they don't sell the Kenbro at the end of it, they'll not buy again. Okay? Our current capacity is 1.3 million chicks per week. Yeah. But for this improved kienyeji, we are at around 110. 1.3 million. Yeah. Kenbro currently it's around 100,000, goes up and down, but it was really hit during the period when feed prices started going. Yeah. Yeah.
Those who are big want to believe when you lie to them and do implementation so that they can monitor the growth rate.
Sure. Yeah, and we will not limit our training to customers who buy from us. It's Kenyans.
Okay,
Thank you, Timothy. I just have this concern, or maybe a point to elaborate. I know you deal with large-scale farmers, but the project is targeting small-scale farmers. Probably you might have beneficiaries of 10 chicken. So what is your strategy to reach these farmers?
Okay.
Yeah, for my own understanding, I would like to know the difference between Kenbro and this improved chicken that Calro has worked on. Is there a difference? And if there is a difference, Calro is a research institute, and if they have reached that point, would you be interested to buy the patent or whatever to multiply and sell to the farmers? I don't know. First of all, explain the difference.
Okay, thank you. I let my colleague, the head of animal health, Dr. Osoria, to respond to the question on Kendro, the difference from a scientific perspective. And then I'll take the strategy to reach farmers. As I said, currently, we are operating across the country. Although we've had, recently we started getting into the northeastern region, and perhaps something that needs to be studied from this level, why farmers are gaining interest in poultry farming. But from the face of it, you can tell it's because of the current challenges to do with drought and so on. So most likely we need to focus into that region. So we currently have a database of 20,000 active farmers across the country. We have our staff in every region who are supported by technical reps. So we understand where poultry farming is happening. And we understand where poultry farming was happening and it stopped. So we do have a proper way of reaching these farmers. Well, that is on the broiler side, and yes, we do have the contract farmers. So here we are talking about the improved kienyeji, which are reared in small bits. And that's why we've talked about partnering with the county governments to bring these farmers together, so they can be able to make economic sense, even if they are to supply to us, or even we can link them with an off-taker. So it's not just about Kenchik, we just want to make them reach the market. It doesn't have to be Kenchik.
And maybe something to add on that. Our marketing strategy for broilers and layers is totally different from what we do with Kenbro. Actually, Timothy will tell you most of our customers for Kenbro are small-scale farmers. They don't keep a lot of birds. What we ensure is we try to group them in their region so that we can offer whatever technical service we can without straining our resources. But we ensure that what we can do to a farmer keeping 10,000 broilers is what we can also give to a farmer keeping 50 birds, for example. So we have different models for that, but at the end of the day, they will still get the same technical output that we give the other farmers. Maybe just now to address the question about the difference between Kenbro and the improved kienyeji. What Caldo has done is it has gone into our local environment and picked our best genetics and tried to improve them by crossing them to come up with a breed that can give you what an improved kienyeji can give you in terms of meat and viability, but is also more resistant and better performance. What we've done as Kenchik with Kenbro is we have looked at genetics which are not really here, but we wanted, let's say, a perfect similar product to kienyeji, but with better performance. So that's why Timothy is telling you our bird will give you more eggs, it will give you more meat, but still it maintains those traits which make it resistant to diseases. So it is very close to the kienyeji chicken that Calro is doing, but it's not been sourced from the local genetic pool, but similar to what is on the market from Calro.
Yeah, and thank you, Dr. And to add on that, I would say we are not locked. I think we've done so many joint projects with Calro. At some point, where we find that what they are producing, we come into agreement that we can replicate it, and it meets the standards that are required. We are not locked at all. But so far, Kendro is doing as well as the kienyeji in terms of drought resistance, ability to scavenge. It doesn't have to be fed. So we have gotten the traits that are required for you to call it an improved kienyeji. Thank you. Yeah, of course, the first thing, we are growing the industry together, so we will not ask a lot. The only thing we would like is for this project to be scaled up at an accelerated rate. We'd like some kind of support, financial support, to hire more staff. Even this training of officers from the government, it requires some funding. So we'll need some level of participation in terms of funding this project, just to scale it up. It's stretched. It would be good. Yeah, for us to be able to reach the level that you want to reach, then we need some level of funding. But it's something that we can discuss.
I think what we meant, you're not going to get money to can check, but you have to mobilize those farmers with others so that we also get the expertise on training and those certification. So it's us to provide the farmers and the staff to be trained together with them so that can ensure that issue of sustainability. When you also be having the community resource person on poultry, then we'll use their expertise plus other people's expertise to train these farmers. That means we organize for Avelu, we get these farmers to be there to be trained. Then they are there. Then we're not going to pay for their expertise because those are the part. Because we also need the bird so that they're in business. Yeah. Can we then, I think the discussion with them, they are still with us. We can still be able to interact. Can we get KCB on board? KCB? Thank you, Timothy.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. Or it is morning still. Their own businesses and to develop, because of the unemployment that we have, to reduce the unemployment that we have. So we intend to have 1.5 million youth to be employed within the next 5 years. How do we do it? First, we focus in 3 phases: agribusiness, as well the program works in, construction, these technical courses where we take the technical training in colleges to get technical skills. Those are just the agribusiness skills, construction, mechanical, welding, and what have you. But for the project, I'll focus on agribusiness. So the first phase, where we take them to college, they do the 6-month course on whatever course that is interesting them, where we pay it fully. Then after that, we take them to the second phase that we call the business development service project or incubation phase, where we incubate them to grow there, to start their own businesses, by where we give them toolkits or other equipments that they can be able to start there, even into the banking financial system. That is under Tujajiri. So the second one is where we call Mifugo Nimali. Mifugo Nimali is basically livestock, animal is wealth, or farming is wealth, where we focus on, it is Mifugo Nimali. We focus mainly on ASAL counties. For Mifugo Nimali, currently we are working in 20 counties, the ASAL counties. the Marsabits, the Wajias, the Samburus, all the ASAL counties within the country. So what we do, currently we are on into 5 value chain, that is poultry, beef, dairy, agriculture, and aquaculture. That's what we focus in. What we do under Mifugo Nibali, we try to increase livestock productivity, increase governance, management and leadership, because we don't work with individual farmers under Mifugo Nibali, rather we work with farmer cooperative organizations, or we call them farmer producer organizations. These are self-help groups, small groups, cooperatives that have come to bring farmers together to be able to do their own businesses. So we strengthen their governance structures, policies, and any other thing by training them, giving them ensuring that they are registered, because some we get them when they are still not structured, we structure them and then they are registered. We support that maybe through financing or construct the local physical markets. For maybe it is the livestock, and for livestock we construct a market, like currently we did Garsen market, we are doing another one in Busia. So the other way we do it is that we organize for them B2B trade fairs, whereby we organize that we do under market, is that we, as a foundation, we look for partners who are in. As a foundation, we sign contract with the MOU with the off-takers. After signing the MOU with the off-takers, we now introduce the farmer producer organizations that we work with to the off-takers that we've signed the MOUs with, so that they can negotiate their own terms of engagement. The other way that we do market linkage is that we do things like accreditation, because we realize that there's a lot of. So what we do under that space is that we look for a consultant. We pay the consultant to do training on quality assurance and accreditation, then take that we work with through the process of registration and certification, so that they can get accredited into whatever they're doing, so that they can even get the SCAPE certification, the halal certification, so that their products can go into market. That is under. So the next one we also do is value addition. Some that we do merged grants, so that they can give 50%, and as the foundation we also finance them 50%, and the 50% that they contribute can either be in form of a finance that they are given, we pay within a period of time, or they chip in form of cash. The reason why we did this, we used to do it 100% grant, but we found that it was not sustainable, because you could do that and then the FPO doesn't get that real value. They don't like maximize that, the use of the equipment that they've been given. They normally say that in your KCP, this is for KCP equipment. So they don't actually, but if they contribute something, they'll see that their money is also tied to that, to the equipment. So for the other thing that we do a lot of, for animal productivity, we ensure that we are introducing the concept of feedlots, constructions into feedlots, and feedlotting into ASAL counties and to the pastoralists, and even to the ranches. We are also, but we do that by the actual construction of feedlots to the ranchers. That's in form of a grant. We also introducing hay production, whereby to mitigate drought issues, we assist the farmer producer organizations that we work with, so that they can be able to produce fodder to mitigate drought. So on the same of fodder production, we also are doing water pumps and boreholes. Like currently we are doing around 10 boreholes in Marsabit County. We've just begun doing around 10 boreholes in Marsabit County and Marsabit Town and Moyale. So we want to ensure that the farmers that we work with, they can be able to access either drinking water and even water for the animals. So the last one is that why do we do all these things? To increase the productivity of the to produce, they can be able to. So the next thing that we do is to link the farmer producer organizations that we've worked with to financial access, so that they can be able to get credit to be able to do whatever they are doing. So the last one under Mifugo Nimali that we do is policy. We assist in policy development. Like currently we are, I know Director, you know the LEADS program. The LEADS program where KCB has been, Foundation has been really spearheading, that is the RFID, tagging and tagging. So that's what we do under Mifugo Nimali, but now I'll go direct to the presentation to see how we can be able to work together. So under our sub-component, we need to integrate, we want to integrate vulnerable households into by supporting on improvement of business skills and financial literacy. So just the same way I said that, I would say that we can be able to adapt some of the youth that are into the program to be able to be taken through technical courses or technical courses within the value chains that they are into, so that they can get that technical knowledge and be able to transfer it into their day-to-day operations. We also support establishment of climate smart resilient water, such as borehole and water pumps, the same way I've said that we do in Marsabit and other. There's that hydroponic farm to be kind of a model hub, whereby farmers will coming, beneficiaries, the youth will be coming to learn within a specific period of time. After they've gotten their knowledge, they can be able to be supported to transfer that knowledge to wherever they come from. Because currently the way we've been conducting is that we bring beneficiaries, and these beneficiaries are owning the greenhouses, but we are getting out of that system. So we are going to be developing learning hubs, centers for excellence, for incubation for the youth and for the women, whereby we train them on smart technologies farming. We also want to leverage on green climate funding. You know that KCB is a member, the first bank member of Green Climate Fund within the county. So we have been financed so that we can be able to support green smart climate projects. So what are we doing in capacity building to support livestock market association? We want to support on market linkage and alternative income generating activities for LMAs, including certification of quality assurance and value addition, just the way I explained. Just as an explainer, all the projects that we do within the counties, before we embark into doing any project, we first sign an MOU with the county government. After signing the MOU with the county government, like currently we are involved into the counties that we work with the development, the CIDPs. So we get involved into the CIDPs development, so that whatever we are doing, the counties are already, we are already in alignment with the counties, so there's no friction. So the other thing we are doing is to linkaging with internal and external markets, leveraging on our network locally and externally. So on building inclusion value chains, we want to leverage on KCP's experience of Inwajami, cash transfer payments, and NVSP, that is National Value Chain Support Program e-voucher scheme. This is a program whereby we did with the Minister of Agriculture, where we were supporting them in the fertilizer input provision. The next one is to provide cheap and easy to open accounts and leverage on digital financial solutions to receive grants, thus begin building financial history. As we know that most of the smallholder farmers that are currently we work with, if they just come to the bank to apply for a facility, they might not be able to get a facility because they will be told that you don't have a proper financial statement, you don't have what. So what we are doing is that we want to incubate these farmers so that they can be able to be self-sustainable in lending. So the next one is support peer-to-peer exposure. This is by working with past beneficiaries benefited from KCB Foundation interventions. We have several farmers that have already benefited from KCB Foundation programs as our beneficiaries. So we would like to use them as learning centers or as exposure to take the farmers for exposure visits so that they can be able to get experience from them. There's also a product that we once used to have in Makweni called the poultry value chain, whereby it was a multi-sectorial product where we were doing the financing, we had an off-taker for the poultry who was off-taking. Then we had we used to work with the Kuku Chick who were providing the chicks, and then KCB would pay for all this, the farmer would rear, then there was an off-taker to take to the market. So it was we have beneficiaries who benefited from that, and now they've grown to large-scale farmers. So we can use those experiences to take even the beneficiaries to go and learn from there. So the next one is that we intend to build value chain inclusion by supporting and training, support on training of young entrepreneurs, open up apprentices and mentorship opportunities in conjunction with KCB's group partners. The one thing that we normally do also is that all the beneficiaries that we have to take them through apprenticeship and internship so that they can also, after just getting the trainings, we take them to do the real actual work, either internship or we attach them to somebody who is already doing who is already doing whatever they've learned so that they can get that real hand experience to provide whatever they need. So we need to also provide a pathway to enterprising youth with innovative ideas on commercial loan, set up revolving fund backed up by guarantee to unlock product to target various value chain for sustainability. So the other thing is that we need to provide access to finance through e-voucher system in the livestock subsector, through the e-voucher system, so that funds can be disbursed through the e-voucher system that we already have. So our outputs, we need to improve the markets, getting 7,255 households to accessing financial services, and also improved access to agricultural technology and production services. So we, as KCB, we are ready to commit 7.93 million euros on credit to be availed to customers if we can have blended kind of credit with the program. So our request is guarantees stock instructions to facilitate the bank unlock blended financing models for the various value chains, whereby the project, if we can have the project provided guarantee to the farmers that we can be able to lend to. So also marketing and promotional services, we can be able to do this together. Mobilization and recruitment expenses, training, content development and review, travel and accommodation expenses, training expenses including business development service and technical, and then incubation cost, then monitoring and evaluation costs. So that's all for us. Thank you.
Jackson for KCB.
Thank you, KCB.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues, and we appreciate being here as KVDA to be part and parcel of this very important discussion, basically looking at our capacity as KVDA. Just to highlight on who we are a parastatal organization and integrated in nature. That is what we do. We operate in several counties. We are in Marakwet, we are in Baringo, we are in Samburu, we are in West Pokot, Turkana, parts of Nakuru, and parts of Marsabit. you realize most of the counties where we operate are implementing Kelco project. We operate within an area of 107,000 square kilometers. 80% of the land is basically asal. Livestock keeping is the mainstay of the guys in that area. This is where we are. Regional development authorities are 6 in Kenya. We are one of them. We were the second to be established. This is Kenya. This is where we are. The others are Ewasonyiro North Development Authority, Lake Basin where we are today, our Lake Basin Development Authority. We have Tarda, Tana and Earth River Development Authority. And then we have down here, we have Ewasonyiro South Development Authority, and then we have finally the Coast Development Authority. All of us who are established to undertake integrated programs which include but not limited to irrigation projects, dams, conservation programs, other livelihood programs. That is where we are. So in terms of our operation area, if you pull that small map, we operate in these counties, which I've just mentioned. That is where we are. Our vision, basically, from the board is to a prosperous, green, and conflict-free society. We are saying that we need to have peace to be able to develop. We must ensure that an environment is kept. Serving Cherengani, you are aware, and doing a lot of conservation programs just to ensure that the environment is maintained. Our vision is there, basically to promote conservation and sustainable management of the programs that we have in an integrated manner for the benefit of the people that we are serving in that particular area. Strategic objectives are just 3 as contained in our strategic plan. One is related to the mandate, basically to promote sustainable utilization, sustainable environmental protection, and natural resource management. That is where value addition and other things. And finally, is to strengthen regional planning, identify the opportunities. That's our major priority, to feed Kenyans. We've done quite a number of them, and very successful in the region where we are. The other one is water harvesting. And I was listening to KCB Foundation. I didn't know they're also doing boreholes. We, because of the nature of our programs, we do water harvesting and storage, building dams, developing water plants, and also doing boreholes, basically to provide water and sanitation services to the people that we serve. Just recently, we've done quite a number in each of those counties, and today we are very proud that we're able to touch lives in those very remote areas where water was very scarce. In terms of pasture, 80% of the area that we serve is under asal, and basically livestock is the mainstay. Because of the climate change and the effects of severe drought that we are facing today, you've seen people losing livestock because of scarcity of water and pasture. As KVDA, apart from, we want the communities to be supported, to be able to produce as much pasture as possible, so that they can continue taking care of the livestock. The other one is environmental conservation. Just like I said before, we are into conserving Cherengani catchment area, which is one of the 5 water towers in this country. We've done that with concerted efforts from our own self and also from other partners like the counties, the communities, including other government players like Kenya Forest Services. And the livelihood with 4 main integrated programs. Our programs are integrated in nature, and that is why because we operate and send from one county to the other one. And that is why I'm saying that we must work together with the counties, because we cannot do it in Elgeyo Marakwet and forget about what is happening in West Pokot. We have a mango value chain project. Basically what we do is just value addition. We have nurseries, we raise the seedlings, we supply at subsidized cost to the local farmers. We sell throughout that particular time. When they are ready, we offtake, we buy them. Reason is, farmers used to lose a lot of money from brokers. We used to come all the way from major town and then dictate the price. A bag of mangoes, they were selling at about 300 or 400. Normal market price to be 1,000. So farmers were losing. In addition, pests and diseases was to come in and assist the farmers. Today, we are processing mango that is found in major supermarkets in this country. The farmers are able to make their money. We don't do it for profit, but we are trying to help the farmers get the rightful share of the hard work. And then we are also into honey production. And like my colleague Salina, we are into honey production, and that is why we are here today. When it comes to honey, KVDA or Kerio Valley Development Authority, we are a force. This is what we have. And if you are as young as myself and you've not been told to take honey, please check. Honey is medicinal. Honey is therapeutic for the ladies who want their faces to shine. This is it. And don't go far, just look for KVDA and you'll be able to do that. But we don't produce honey. We add value. Honey is produced by the local communities, very, very poor, the guys on the ground. Sometimes we go and visit them, you also sympathize. The state at which they are. We have guys in West Pokot, we have guys in Baringo and other areas who do the actual production. We assist them to produce beehives at subsidized costs, hand it over to them, they do the production, we do the off-taking, because we also realized that there's a number of cartels coming from all over the country, dictating the price. The farmer is not able to get the right price, and poverty level continues, yet they have the product. So we put up a processing factory in one of the counties where we buy the semi-processed honey, we process and package and get it to the market. If you go to the supermarkets, basically you find our honey. In the streets of Nairobi, you'll find it there. The other one, today it is storing water that is able to generate 106 megawatts of hydropower that is sent here, and we are able to consume that power. KenGen is actually generating that from the dam that we developed. The other one is a fund in West Pokot on food security. It's about opening up about 600 acres of land under irrigation. And the guys who used to be pastoralists are now farmers. The guys who used to walk and even steal cows are today appreciating farming as an activity. And there's a lot of money that these guys are earning every year. They're able to do about 1,200 tons every year worth of maize. Then of course, on this is recent, this is about 6 months, we did a borehole, and then we built the traps, and we've done it in all the counties that we serve. This one is somewhere in Samburu. We've done in Elgeyo Marakwet, we've done in Baringo and other places. You can see farming and the environment is changing. What are we doing to address this? We have established nurseries where we raise our seedlings, the tree seedlings. We partner with local communities. We partner with counties to be able to ensure that we plant the degraded areas. That is the bull that we have. The bull goes for about 100,000. It is the one that we use to do the kind of multiplication I was talking about. Basically to help the locals earn some money. Once the grass seed is harvested, this is the way we pack it. And say we pack it as KVDA. And this goes up to Lokichokyo, this goes up to the root, and the other one, that is what we have as honey. Unique grass seed, pasture seed, yes. Which species? Jepkene. This is your line. Kindly take Chepkene's number. Chepkene is our technical expert. This is one guy who can transfer bees from one house to the other. He's well known in Kenya for transferring bees and livestock and other things. Now, why beekeeping project? Why? They are here, wealth creation, food and nutrition security, creates employment. We've talked about that. These are things that we are aware of. Contributes to human health because the nutritional lives, contributes significantly to crop productivity because bees move from one parcel to the other, increasing productivity, and then contributes to government revenue. KRA needs tax, and they get tax from farmers. What's our potential in this region? There's great potential. And that is why we are a household name in beekeeping. The region has potential of about 100 metric tons, valued at over 20 billion. So you can imagine, you can see the amount of money that the local farmers will be generating. And currently we are talking about less than 20%. That is underuse. And again, because of other challenges, the farmers are not able to reap as much as possible. The other one, we work with farmers. As I said, we don't produce. Us, we have no farms. But we work with farmers. The farmers are formed in groups. We've signed memorandum of understanding of what they are ready. KVDA buys from them at a price that we negotiate. So all that money gets to the local communities. Local communities empower them to be able to lead a normal life, just like those guys like you who stay in the towns. We've done capacity building, as I said before, in so many, basically technology which are being applied. For a very long time, they've been using traditional. They lack technical skills on the ground. We've done as much as we can. These guys need some funding to be able to enhance the capacities. Technology is very minimal, and that is why now we come in to provide or to be a mediator in between to do value chain, that process. Previously, there was a big problem, access to markets, but because we are buying from them and adding value, their products are able to say that it has an issue. Every package has a batch number. We are able to trace where the honey came from. We are able to trace the day it was delivered to KVDA. We are able to track up to the owner, and then we address some of these issues. So that traceability issue is there. And of course, these guys have low income, but because of our education, they've been able to enhance their income levels. Of course, the effects of drought is something they can't do anything about. This is all of us. Seasonality, they are not, you know, honey production is seasonal. Yeah, and again, depend on the weather to be able to reach that output. Then, of course, we have incidences of insecurity in the area. You're aware of what is happening now. Some of these guys are not able to reach or get out of their comfort zone because of what is happening around. You're aware of the incidences recently along the routes. And of course, other areas are not accessible. Other areas are not accessible. Even us, as we go to collect honey, sometimes accessing some potential areas is not normally very easy. Where do we stand in? What are our strengths in beekeeping? One, we have been in beekeeping for over 25 years. We have been there. Farmers know we have been there. So far today, we've done over 20,000 beehives that we have given out at subsidized fees to various farmer groups that we operate with. When we increase that number, it means that there will be increased production at the source. The other one is that we have the technical personnel. My colleague is a technical expert in honey or beehive, plus others that we have. We use them to build capacities of artisans as well as beekeepers. We have a well-established market channel. As I say, we are in almost all supermarkets, including here in Kisumu. Just yesterday, our team went to Nyamira, the other side, so we are penetrating. People are realizing that you cannot compromise. KVD does not compromise on the quality, like our other colleagues. So we are everywhere in terms of market channels. The other one is that we have a very effective collaborative framework with groups, the local women, the local youth, people with disabilities. We try to reach them as much as possible. We want to play a significant role to ensure that these guys have something to do. In taking honey from the local groups, we as KVDA spend almost 40 million every year. As I said, we don't make profit. We facilitate so that these local farmers can do whatever they do. We have trained over 50 artisans in tailoring, in carpentry, and these are now distributed all over, and they are helping local communities or local farmers to produce the beehives. We intend to multiply this by 5. We want to ensure that we increase the number of artisans that can reach the farmer at the corner where we are not able to reach. We also want to ensure that even the TVETs will benefit from the guys who have been trained by KVDA. Over 1,500 people, farmers have been trained by KVDA. Farmers are normally 30 in a group. We have dealt with 50 groups, and 50 groups at an average of 30 is about 1,500. We want to push that number to beyond 3,000. And that is why we need to build capacities. We need to develop the capacities at any given sector to be able to drive that number. We want to get as many farmers to be part and parcel of this, so they may also benefit from the increased productivity. We have 2 collection centers in Pokot where we collect honey. Farmers, when they harvest, they deliver the honey there. KVDA picks it from there. It is easy for them. They minimize cost. And at that same level, we also check on the quality as they deliver and keep all the record. And finally, We have a well-established framework for engaging the counties. As I speak today, we have MOUs with Baringo County, with Elgeyo Marakwet County. We are working on one. There was a meeting of KELCOP in Samburu yesterday, and next week I think we are going to have another MOU. And we realize all the areas where we operate, KELCOP project is there. So we want to continue bringing everybody on board because of the kind of network, because of the kind of capacities that we have to be able to progress our KELCOP project in the areas where we are. This is the workshop where we have the tools and equipment outdated and needs to be improved. This is the guys who are now doing the actual work. These are the guys we trained, they were making the beehives. They've now gone to the villages to help the people. But again, the numbers are insufficient. So we want to increase the kind of people that we are training to be able to support those communities that we are not able to reach. This is one of the beehives that we do and sell. This is another one that we produce and sell. We use the carpenters using our own machinery to be able to increase production, at the same time build the capacities of those artisans to be able to do it at their own level. This is a building that is owned by KVDA. This is where we have our processing facility. Inside there, we have about 23, 25 men and women who are actually doing honey production, no honey processing. They receive, they process, they pack, and transport to various channels where we distribute. This is a team of the KELCOP team that came to assess the facilities. We took them there just to look at how the facility is. This is what we are saying today. We have noted the importance of beekeeping projects. And we're saying we have the necessary facilities, we have the capacity to make effective contribution towards the beekeeping component of the KELCOP project. So what we want to do is to undertake capacity development of beekeepers, of artisans, of the facilities that just to ensure that we make an effective contribution and increase production. We want to strengthen those two areas that I've said. Beekeeping, we need to find a way of increasing the numbers. Honey processing, we also want to move from 100 tons per year to about tons. So that means to or enhance the facilities that we have. We also want to help farmers to be able to explore other markets, including but not limited to the foreign market. We want to go outside, we want to produce for the global market, and the product. Specifically what we want to do in terms of components is to ensure that we multiply, we build capacities of the guys that I've shown you up here. These guys that we brought in and trained, we want them to go out and help the communities. The guys that we have trained on beekeeping should be trainers in the communities. And we are talking with a county government, identified some private institutions, and they're asking us to help them identify the technical personnel at KVDA today. If you gave us money today, then we should be able to run it straight. We'll go to the field, enhance capacity building at various areas. In that factory, we have a hall like this one, where we do our training, so it is available. The other one is we have the tools. Within that factory, we have the tools and equipment. They're a bit outdated, and that is why we're saying we can double the number of beehives that we're doing today, or Ifad for that matter. the numbers of the trainers, because we are working with the county government and we are in discussion. They want the numbers to be increased also. They've come to us and we are trying to see how we can do this. So if funds are available, then they cost quite a bit of money on youth mentorship and beekeeping technology. Normally we give positions to students on attachment. Students who are doing the right relevant things, we mentor them. And then finally we absorb them into the system, train them, they become part of the training. What we are asking KELCOP, building capacity of the beekeeper himself, right? What are we talking about? We have supported about 1,500 people. That is, we work with groups, we don't work with individuals. So each group, we have done 50 groups, and each group, an average of 30 people. Men, sometimes, but mostly women, youth, and PWDs. This is what we have today. We want to double that number. If we get a facility, we should be able to do that. And of course, we have a database on all honey producers in the region. We have them, which gives us a, it's a job start for this particular project. We have adequate experience in processing honey. We understand the gaps that are in the value chain today. And finally, we have a very good existing relationship between the farmers, county governments, and ourselves, and other stakeholders. We have a manual which we use to train some of these guys, and ours is basically to do technology transfer. We want to build those capacities because we have what it takes. What are we looking for? We are looking for funds to help us enhance or whatever we are trying to do, including but not limited to replacing the kind of facilities that we have in those two areas. Capacity building again on for artisans. As I said, we have a facility that has a capacity to train 30 trainees per session. You can imagine if we were to do this for a period of 3 months, how many guys will be able to train and take to the market? Quite a number. We have qualified artisan trainers with us, and then of course we have a manual which is normally a guiding document. What we are seeking is some funding to be able to expand that. We want to review, develop other training manuals. We want to bring in other new tools and equipment to be able to expand that. Upgrading of honey processing, I indicated to you, we have a processing facility where we do all these things. The building is available. It has water. It has power. Just recently we did a borehole, so there's sufficient water that is being used to process. Then of course, we have staff who are resident in that place. We have basic processing facilities, and that is now we are coming to KELCOP to help us upgrade so that we can do better off-taking, better production, and better processing from there. And then of course, facilities, we are asking for funds to be able to enhance this. The other one is production center. No, I thought support to various groups. These guys need help. If you can donate just about 5,000 to help a Pokot guy, within 3 months, they'll be able to get 10 tons. And 10 tons, if they sell at 350, that is 3,500 within 3 months, if it is colonized well. So there are those Kenyans who need this kind of help. So we support various organized groups, but again, we are saying that we need to support these kind of groups by even supporting them with the basic processing equipment. What we have is a bit complicated, but at the ground level, there are some small facilities which are used to extract honey from the combs. Those are the kind of things we are talking about, so that they can be able to increase their production. We have land that is available from the various communities. We have goodwill. People are talking about KVDA. Anytime we go down, even to Chemalengot where there are chaos now, say, KVDA, you guys, you're doing well, support us. Because of what we have on the ground. What are we requesting? We are requesting for funds to be able to establish other apiaries in areas where we have not done so. We want to expand the catchment. We want to increase production to be able to exploit the 100,000 tons that I talked about. Honey collection centers, today we have 2. The advantage of a collection center is that it is closer to the farmers. It provides an environment where our staff can actually assess the quality at the farm, quality of honey. So the more of these things on the ground, the better it will be for farmers who will be able to check on the quality, spend less in terms of transport, and get more money from whatever they're doing. So we are looking at expanding from 2 to another maybe 6 in the areas that we have mapped to be able to build those structures, support the guys on the ground, have staff allocated to be able to support those kind of facilities. Honey traceability system. I did give an example. But today, if you're not satisfied with this honey, just call us. We'll be able to trace this honey, give us certain tree seedlings, which can also help. So we want to establish as many nurseries in other areas as much as possible to be able to increase the coverage and ensure that farmers are able to get honey. And finally, pasture seed. Pasture seed. This is something that is very common in ASAL areas. We have it in stock. I think today we have over 15 tons. Don't let your cows die. We are doing this to help you, to help the people on the ground. And instead, they have an improved production process for their livestock. Without this, you can see the amount of money that we are losing each and every day because livestock are dying because there's no pasture. So let's try and work on this. But the good thing is that KVDA, we have a certified seed. We have, and we can deliver to you. We deliver to World Vision, somewhere about 400 kilometers from Eldoret. So we can do it to you. We have farmers that have benefited in terms of our training. They're able now to do their pastures, and that pasture is now being fed to the livestock, and they're able to support their livestock production. Just quickly, what we want to do in terms of our sustainability programs or mechanisms, how do we sustain? One, for the TOTs, we are saying that even after we implement, we will continually provide follow-ups and make sure that these guys, their capacities are built. We don't just want to train them and move away. We want to make follow-ups. Secondly, we want to provide updated training manuals for these guys so that they can keep on, increasing their understanding of all these things. They will continue to provide the technical support, follow-ups, advisories, extension services for these guys so that they can be able to serve the guys on the ground. Mentoring of youth, we are saying we provide opportunities for students at the universities and other institutions. Every year we have almost 150. Some of them are in beekeeping. So we are going to continue providing this opportunity to students so that they can also develop within livestock, within a beekeeping sector. Then of course, we are also going to engage them to be able to undertake beekeeping activities in their respective areas. With regard to capacity building of beekeepers, that is it. We'll keep on administering the training that we have given out to these guys. We don't just want to leave them. We train, make follow-ups to ensure that they are effective on the ground and the guys are getting the services. We will continue to monitor and make recommendations. Capacity building of artisans, again, we are going to do that. Once they are trained, we don't leave, we move with them. We train them. Upgrading of aquaculture, this is again what we want to do. We have an operation manual which we have managed, but again, we need to improve on this when the time comes. BI production, again, the factory, we need to improve on this. We need to monitor as we go so that we don't have a project that is an elephant in the house. We want a project that will be able to sustain that particular process. And all this for each of item, we have the sustainability mechanism for all of these programs. This is how we want to do it. One, we are where we are today because of our experience. We want to identify and classify beekeepers and artisans. Secondly, we want to bring in new farmers because that is where we want to go. We want to increase production. Production cannot be by itself, but we need to increase the numbers of practitioners who are there. Once that is done, again, we will be able to undertake training of these guys, and then we'll be able to provide support to beekeepers. What are we looking for? Our programs are about 172.5 million. We have itemized some of these costs, including but not limited to subsistence, training, hiring where necessary, facilities, building capacities of the two factories to be able to enhance production. Finally, by the end of the project, by the end of the Kelco project, we will have 3 training manuals. We will have 1,800 new beekeepers identified and trained, capacity built. We will have 200 artisans from 50 who will now be able to help various communities. We'll be able to do 10,000 because we are going to expand the facilities. 10,000 beehives annually given to the farmers at subsidy cost. We are going to do about 500 tons of semi-processed honey. Currently we are doing 100, but imagine with the improvement, should be able to do that and create a market for the farmers, and then they'll be able to get some money. We'll create almost 1,000 opportunities because they'll be engaged in honey collection centers, processing facilities and others. And of course, we are going to expand our livelihood programs in those particular areas because these guys now have money. Finally, SMEs will be developed, wealth will be created, and there will be socio-economic development in those particular areas. Way forward, we are saying as KVD, as a government institution, we'd like to cooperate through a collaborative framework with the project that is being implemented by the State Department for Livestock. We need to have some kind of an MOU, and of course, we need some money thereafter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, okay.
Our honey is available behind there. This one is 360 shillings. It's squeezed. This is only 700 bob. If you go to the supermarket, this is 1,000. This is 450. We have brought them at your doorsteps. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Wan Onyango. Reaction?
Thank you so much. KPDA. On a light note, I can see that most of the functions that we are doing is more or less what we are doing as the State Department of Livestock, as per the executive order of January 2023. Because you are doing the range management development, it is there in our mandate, promotion of beekeeping, our mandate. And then I can see you are not taker for beekeeping. That's good. That's a good thing. At the same time, I think the issue of service provider didn't come out very clearly. Now you are getting a lot of honey from the farmers. What is it that you are assisting them with? Because I know in Turkey is the second largest country globally that produce honey. And I saw that company called Bio, something called Bio, owned by a lady. And most of the pharmaceutical products come from honey. And they normally provide, when they get the honey from the farmers, they normally provide equipment and even transport and everything. Since you are in business and you want these farmers to produce for you enough, what is it that you are giving them in turn as a Kenya Valley Development Authority? Because that thing didn't come out very clearly. It didn't come out very clearly. Again, in terms of the price, it's good that you have told us. Second, it's good that you are also involved in the functions that I'm doing about pasture seeds. But there is a serious problem of quality pasture seeds in our country. I don't know how you relate with Kenya Seed Company, because most of the time they tell us that the grass seeds are not available. The quality grass seeds are not available, and that is an area that you really see. I see you are saying your concentration is only on central areas. The other thing is, basically most of your thing is building the capacity of the staff and the farmers. How will you relate with the county government, whose mandate is to build the capacity of the farmers and to ensure they are the custodians of extension? Yes, you can do it. Extension is demand-driven. It's a demand-driven, but how do you relate with the county government in terms of teaching? Knowing very well that there was an woe and cry from the governors that this development authority be devolved as because they are performing a county function. That was one of the issues up to now which has not been resolved. Again, do you have the capacity? I thought the ministry has the capacity. I wonder why they have not placed you under State Department of Livestock, Kenya Valley Development Authority, because as a statutory body. Because most of the things is basically going around within the livestock sector. Support the development of adequate training materials for beekeeping. Really? Do you have the capacity to do that? I don't know. You tell us. Certification. We know that the US gave us 18 metric tons, a quarter of 18 metric tons of honey for us to export it. What is making you not get all the bees, all the honeys all over the country, so that you venture into that market of US? And then what is making you not to use your own resources to achieve some of these things that you want the project to achieve? Because you are a business, you are a taker. What is making you not use some of the resources that you are collecting and you are getting from the exchequer to perform some of these issues that you want this social inclusion project to do for you? Thank you so much.
I have a small question. Although it has been partially added by my director, the mandate of you are a government institution, and this project is a government institution.
and the mandate seems to be almost the same. Would you say maybe a certain component of the project in may I respond to those two first? Wait a moment. Thank you, Director. We work together in state government. Our mandate, as I said, we implement integrated programs. We are also into livelihood programs because of the nature of the environment where we operate. For a very long time, we have been in livestock enhancement program, and I do understand where you come from. This is your baby. But again, on the ground, we have the structures. We work with people, directors who come from those affected guys. What are we doing for Samburu? What are we doing for Turkana, who are basically livestock keepers? We don't want to leave anybody out. We are on the ground. You are at that level where you do policy. We are on the ground to implement what you have given us. You are all over Kenya. You supervise all RDS in terms of you give direction. But what we do is basically we focus in our area. So we still work together, and I want to maybe just say what your peers said when we had a meeting, that we need to work together. We are not fighting just the way we are fighting with the counties. We must develop some kind of a synergy. We cannot operate in isolation. The days when the counties were fighting other institutions is long gone. And I said in my slide number 4 or 5, I think, and I said that today we have signed almost 4 MOUs with the counties. That means they've recognized our potential to be able to engage us. Previously, they never wanted to see us and any other government, national government institution, because they believe they had everything. But again, talking to them, they realize that we have been there. They came the other day. We have what it takes in almost all the sectors. So we are there. We have the capacity. We'll support you. Support us also. Regarding the quality of pasture, yes, we are working with Kenya Seed. Kenya Seed is saying that they need to really understand the quality of the pasture. We were a household name in pasture seed development. But until recently, Kenya Seed came back and said, you guys, you need to really look at this, whether it is a patented item. Is it yours? How do you ensure quality? Yes, we do. But we've not reached there. It is not patented yet. But we are moving towards there. Yes. Our team had a meeting with the Kenya Seed and they're working on something. And I would just like to give a chance to our Deputy Director who has been dealing with that. Maybe she can just say something on this before we proceed. Karibu. Yeah, so apart from Kenya Seed, we have other, you remember the institutions, the government institutions, the regulators of seeds and all these things. We work with them. Kefis. Thank you. Thank you, Director. We work with all government institutions to ensure that everything is done as is expected. So again, we work closely. Kenya Seed is where we have some contracts with Kenya Seed today in Weiwei in Sigor, where every year we produce and supply to them. Yes, for the seedless. Yes. Yeah, we work with them. Thank you. How are we related to the? Yeah. Thank you for that comment. We are engaged them. In fact, we have been with them for the last, I think, 10 years. Yes. Yes.
And it's not bad, because it's private sector. May not really like to see the business. Is that how many is good? And then what I say, it's not and what wrong with it? The whole payment is going to go. I think as it is a company, there are many companies that look for every document very much better. If you look at the number of purchases, only suspects. No, that's true. What I'm trying to say, why is it as if not picking a product there after you have why is it here? And I'm not saying that what we are doing, but
yeah, let me give my colleague a chance to maybe respond.
I want to say that in the country, we have some institutions who are mandated to undertake various quality control. One of the key quality control institutions is KEVIS. Even for the Kenya seed, KEVIS has to certify the quality of the seed. Like East African seed company, we have so many seed companies that produce. What should come out is that those who have really been able to patent the seed and register it with KEVIS quality control. The only thing I will talk about Singers Liaris is that if you look at it, who has really patented it, it's not even Kenya seed. There is a private partner who has already patented it. When we wanted to register it under KVDA, we were told it has already been registered. Then we went into production, and that is how we are doing at the moment, doing the production and bulking for the community.
You see, when a Kenyan discovered that we were doing the same, they ran behind us and got them, you know, they took over.
Thank you for that. From the technology part of it, averagely the production of honey is at 10 kg per year. And the intention would be to push it to at most 40, at least 25 per year, as according to literature. In your activities, you are promoting hives, but I feel hives alone will not make you commercialization. Which dictates the colony, and the production is on the colony. But you don't have it on queen selection, the multiplication, and then providing access of queen to the farmer. So why did you? Why don't you have proposed?
Thank thank you very much for your presentation. I think a lot of the things you're doing are very relevant to the project. You mentioned aspects around natural resource management within the beekeeping context, but you also talked about the beehive making, which I think we heard from farmers in the field that this is a big challenge. They are using locally made hives. So I think there's quite a lot of interesting things you're doing, including the tree planting or the woodlots that you have. I had a question, because I'm a bit struggling with the business model vis-a-vis the private sector business model that we are also promoting for the project. You said that you are a not-for-profit organization. I think largely also because you're government, and a lot of some of your operations are heavily maybe subsidized by government. So I'm just trying to understand, in your view, how would you intervene within the project in a commercial way so that you are able, of course you're very competitive because even your prices are much lower, but I'm just wondering how would you work within the context of the kind of private sector entities that we are working with? I don't know if you've understood the question. Then I'm struggling to kind of structure it, but I'm having a struggle with the business model, with this business model vis-a-vis the kind of private sector model that probably we are trying to propose. And I don't know if someone can help me clarify that. But on the traceability aspect, I think this is a bit easier. You said that you use the batch code, so I just wanted to know whether you are able to trace the honey from the county level and also to the actual farmer, whether you actually go to that level, because that would be a very interesting model to also use.
Struggled with that. If I can, amount of time you said we are not for profit, we are not for profit. I think it. Now, who compete with them? Meanwhile, you to make profit, and they want to make profit. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. The technical side is very clear. You're supporting them to build their capacity and everything. But at the same time, you are a taker, producing and selling. So you are also a competition to them. Yet you are selling at a much lower price than they will be selling. So if we're not careful, you will train them and then at the same time undercut their profit, because you are not for profit. They are for profit. You understand? So I am trying to really understand that aspect. I really get the technical side. But now that you are going into, because I'm a business person, no matter how you look at it, you keep saying we are not for profit, we are not for profit, but nobody wants to do business to run at a loss. No one. You at least you want to break even and get some money. But now, how do you reconcile that with the farmers who will now be?
Thank you for that question.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your presentation. I have appreciated the proposal of honey. Because from where I sit, it is an environment-friendly enterprise. But you're silent in terms of development of the forage for the bees. I know you level within the land. Perspective as an important strategy. I also have that you are enough, but let me
it by engaging with
Thank you all for your concerns. We have standard sizes for our beehives. For the two beehives, Langstroth and Kenya Top beehive, a beehive gives us an average of about 10 tons, but we are continually undertaking research to be able to see how we can increase the capacity. We have done that, I would say, the last 1 year. We are moving from the smaller one, which does about 10 kgs, to one that does about 16. Already it is in the market and you can get it. However, this does not stop us from exploring other opportunities. It depends, it's a demand driven. If the farmers are looking for that particular beehive that can give 40 kgs, then KVDA will have no obligation but to really respond to the farmers, because that is what they are looking for. My colleague will respond on the queen excluder, maybe on traceability. Anytime we pick honey, all the records from the source, from the farmer himself, all records are kept. While processing, honey is processed per the date of collection, the farmer, or where it came from, so we don't mix. So if, for example, today we collected honey from this guy, maybe 2 tons, there's a particular day that is set to process the honey that came from a particular individual, such that if there's any problem at the end, we are able to trace back and see where it came from. We've done that because at one time, I told you, this honey was taken to the US. And what went to the US had comments saying that this honey is smelling some smoke. It means, yes, exactly. It means you're just burning smoke. Then we had to trace that to the source, and we found the source. We built capacities of those guys, and we've told them to use the modern technology of harvesting honey. So traceability, that is okay. Why are we not getting honey from Baringo? Again, I'll say my colleague will do this. He's the regional manager of Baringo. About 3 months ago, there was an article in the newspaper saying that there was this proprietor from Rongai in Nairobi. They come at night in Baringo, buy all the honey, or from selected farmers, take to Nairobi, repackage, add some chemicals that is not allowed, then it finds its way to Baringo County along the streets, along the road, here in Ravine area. When you buy that honey, there's no way that honey will be original. There's no way. So they compromise on the quality, and we've had a meeting with them, just trying to tell them to desist from those kind of practices. As much as they want to make quick money, they interfere with the quality. Not that we don't want their honey, but again, our honey is based on acacia tree. We have standards. We wouldn't want to take honey with people who are not meeting the standards. And that is why now we have been discussing with the governor and his technical team on how we can improve the quality of honey that is coming from Baringo. We are at a very advanced stage of helping them to set up some of these things so that their honey can be as competitive as this one. The honey that I'm holding here is pure. There's no chemical, there's nothing. And it can stay for over 1 year in the shelf. Whether you do it like this, After 1 year, it will be the same. So viscosity and other things, quality, honey from KVDA. Finally, before I hand over to my colleague, on again on the business model and why we are trying to compete with the farmers of the ground. In my other slide, I indicated the challenges that the farmers are even facing, including cartels who used to exploit them. One, they used to dictate the price. They used to buy a kilo at about 200, 300, about 200 at that time. We came in, we started buying at 300 and 350 today. They were losing money at the source. We were able to cushion that loss and by giving them a better price. These guys, they come, buy in bulk from Nairobi, they buy tons and tons at that 200 shillings, leaving that farmer without so much money. When we came in, and we can give you a graph of our trend, we've been able to escalate what the farmers are getting for the last 10 years, from when they were used to sell to these brokers at 150 to today when we are able to pay them 350. There's no other guy who is paying a better price than KVDA. We are not in competition. We are off-taking. We are providing a service. They are able to deliver to us. They are assured of the market. They are assured of payment, which is done on a monthly basis. They are able to use that money to pay fees, and they have confidence in us. And that is why they've been able to sign some MOUs with us to be able to do their business. I can give an example. A guy comes to the office, delivers, and after 1 month, takes a check of 2 million. They share among themselves, they take their kids to school. On the other side, when they sell directly, sometimes to these brokers, one, you're not guaranteed of that substantial amount at one go. So you may not be able to make much use of that money because it comes in piecemeal. You're selling at night, like in Lama Ravine, ladies are on the street at night, they're taking all their family time because they're selling. But imagine, KVDA picks from the source, and this guy waits for the money. It's better for them, and they appreciate it. We are not in business, we are not making money, and I want to assure the director, we don't even have an allocation from Treasury for honey production. What we do, we have a revolving fund. So the proceeds that come from the subsidized sales is what we use to put in. And sometimes we run into problems, we are not able to do some of the things that we're doing. If we get support, we'll be able to come out of that. Thank you. I'll hand over to my colleague.
Thank you. I want just to dwell on some few things. I think, I want just to dwell on some few things, particularly very clear on the approach and the model that we are engaging in the beekeeping sector in the region. And my colleague has really elaborated that this is a sector that we have been there for quite some time. I want to point it clear that KVD handles just a very small fraction of honey in the region. You took of Baringo, you took of Samburu, you took of West Boko, and Marakwet, a very small fraction. The reason is that we have not been able to touch every beekeeper, every producer, and that is why we are looking for partnership with other institutions that can upscale and be able to build some of individual farmers. What we have done as an institution is that we have been able to mobilize, as my colleague talked about, 50 groups. That's a very small fraction within the region. You look of 1,500 population. Doing is actually to come up with the increase the production of modern beers. That is the Langston and the Kenya Toba, which are better in terms of quality, in terms of production, it's much better in comparison with the traditional beers. So what we are saying is that with the support and concerted effort of all the stakeholders, our key objective is that
we can enhance the farmer to produce more. If we are able to facilitate this farmer with the modern PI, that's what we are calling equipment, so that they're able to adapt the new technology, produce more, and get more income. Media has stood at the cap as an immediate market point, in particularly for honey. Why we have stood there is that we are able to build the farmer to do a value addition at the farm gate, at the farmer's BIS production site, where they do a bit of value addition and able to upload to other stakeholders with high income out of that. And that's why we are looking like we partner in terms of this capacity building. We are looking in terms of many actors that play a key role in annual value chain. What we are looking actually is the value chain of this product, where at the end of the day, even if the farmer is not KVDA, a farmer is doing the processing, is able to get the same quality in the market as what KVDA is doing. That's really our focus. So what we are looking is that the program actually to support, one, we are saving in terms of aviaries. Why aviaries? Aviaries is where you will be able to set this BIS. Two, it will help the peak of multiplication. Somebody mentioned issue of people multiplication, because it is obvious that as we talk now, there is a decline in the bee population in the country. So what are we doing? KVDA wants actually to break the caps that actually the farmers experience by setting up aviaries that can be a source of bees. KVDA, we are able to do bee division. We can do colony stocking for the farmers. But we need to set out where modern aviaries that this farmer can benefit within the locality and interior part of this country. And that's why we are looking at that. In terms of forage, we are saying through conservation, we have species that does well in these hassle places. We say we promote that so that the communities are able to do conservation. It will become a source of forage for the bees. Also, those who are doing agricultural production within these places, through the bees pollination, they are able to increase the yield from these crops. So those are, you can see it's a chain of benefits through the beekeeping sector. One of the things that we are looking at, we might talk about pasture. Pasture is the only plant that can do well, particularly the Cinctia ciliaris. It's able to withstand any drought, it's able to understand after fire within the asset places. So it's able to regenerate. It has been proven that it is able to alter the soil erosion within this place. So we are saying, for rangeland rehabilitation, let's walk an extra mile and expand the area out of this. And by that, you will have actually done a lot for the people, because it's a source of income for the pasture seed production. So what, in short, what I want to finish is that there is an issue that I think it's not coming clear in terms of traceability. There is an actor within the production that has not actually been facilitated.
Yeah, I think at any time we'll be having their contracts so that the engagement can continue, so that we can be able to offer markets to our farmers. With that, I request we go for lunch. We have got 2 partners, so after lunch we assemble back at 3, so that we can hear those 2 partners, then from there we can close the session for today. 2 p.m. There's Kibois breeders. Kibois breeders. Yeah, so let's lunch. I think lunch is being served at the lower, I don't know whether it's called restaurant or the lower side. I think our...
we also talked about the dollars, and most of these are the 400 that you're seeing here, the double-ship work. We were able to supply 2,160 animals for double-ship, and we also supplied an extra 400 to farmers who wanted to be part of our breeding program. So this gave us 47 million. And majority of the people who gave us the livestock where we were aggregating from are the youth. We were able to pick this livestock from Nandi, Trans Nzoia, Uasin Gishu, and Elgeyo Marakwet, and we were able then to proceed and supply to communities. And what we've done is that we've made sure that those who are able to invest in it, we have a team, a group that are already keeping 100 animals. We have 8 of us, each of us having over 100 animals. So whenever we get a tender, like now for Gala goats this week, we just got an order of 300 animals from Kakuzi in Thika. That is 4.2 million. And we are able to now extend the same and aggregate from the team that we work with. So these are the numbers we did last year for Doba, 2160 for Kenya Climate Smart Project, and then to individual farmers, 400, and we were also able to supply Uganda Doba Breeders Association with 35 Doba sheep and 35 ewes and 2 rams. So for Gala, we were targeting to do 400. We managed to get a very big order also from West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet, 1125. That was 18 million. So in terms of training, we normally train, part of the arrangement with this project, Climate Smart, is to train the farmers to make sure that the animals that we supply are able to thrive. Because when you give a high quality animal to the rural communities, they may not appreciate it, they don't know how to keep it. So we make sure that we are with them, together with, in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture from the respective counties, to make sure that we train those farmers as we supply these animals. And then we also have people now who are interested in partnering with us. If you go to our, you can see the number of online followers that we have. I think as of today, we are clocking 9,000. We have now people getting interested in Doba and Gala farming because of our aggregation program, and they say they want to be part of us. So they come to our farm, some stay for a week, some for 2 weeks. They bring in their farm hands, they stay with us, learn with us, and then we construct for them and supply the animals to them. So these are the number of trainings that we were able to do last year before we supplied the communities, and then also for the individual groups. And in terms of social inclusion and supporting the youth, that I would call that the mentorship as well. We've done, we were targeting to do 70. So the farmers that enlisted with us as part of the program is 44. For Gala farmers, we were targeting 140. We got 124 farmers who are working with us. For the Doba, it became easy because number one, you can keep it even in areas like Nandi, and you can, we are able to zero graze. And so that's why even with the 44, and you have 8 of us doing 100 each, it becomes easy to get the numbers, to grow the numbers very quickly. So I've talked about the partners, Elgeyo Marakwet and West Pokot. We have also supplied breeding stock to Maseno University, and we are working with them to support and expand their Doba breeding program. And then we already have Uganda Doba Breeders Association, and we also supply rams to Kenya Seed, besides the individual farmers. The challenges that we face in this sector of animal breeding is the high cost of animal feeds. This has been a very, very big issue. And one of the things that we do, we source livestock feed from Uganda and formulate for the concentrates that we use on our zero grazing plan. Then we also established our own fodder, where we have 10 acres of boma rods. That's then the suppliers were able to sell to some of our breeder groups, but the cost of feed in this country is so high, Bwana Director, and we hope you can take that to Nairobi. If you compare cost of feeds in Kenya vis-a-vis Uganda, it's almost 30% higher, and that becomes a challenge for farmers who aspire to be part of this program. Then managing seasonal fluctuations that affect productivity and price. So one of the areas we've been very, very active is in being and engage with partners, and also actively work on promoting our livestock through social media. It has been very, very effective. Like when Kakuzi Farm came, for example, they found us through social media. So the planning that we have in place, partnerships is what has saved us. And then for most of the are interested in venturing into this, the funding for the same, for example, if you talk of getting a quality Doba breed or Ghana, you need to start with 15 to 20,000 for the EU and up to 45,000 for the rams. And for this, we support and we encourage the youth to go for financing through to credit institutions like the banks. But for our case, from the sale and the aggregation, the margins that we get has enabled us to expand. And because whenever we aggregate, there's like a small margin that we put on us to the communities. Then one of the biggest areas which would be a request from us to KELCOP is the source of quality breeding stock for Gala, goats and Doba sheep. It's a challenge to get good quality breeding stock, and it forced us to go as far as South Africa to get a T5 ram. So it's an area that we have to look at if we want to support these communities. And I think particularly for these, the rams and the bucks, if we can get that, because a ram is half the flock and the buck is also half the flock. If you get a good quality breed in terms of rams, it's able to change the genetics of the entire flock within just one season. By the time you go to the second lambing, you have an F1. So, and this is an area that I would advise KELCOP to look into, provision of more of the rams than even the ewes and the does. So the other area, of course, being drought and climate change effects, we've had a lot of challenges on that. Like this year, for example, if you go to the farmers that bought animals from us, we have one who lost his entire flock in Turkana for Dobas, and he had to restart again because there were no feeds, and the cost of transporting animal feed from Trans Nzoia to Lod was so expensive. So it's an area that we would recommend that we look into, including also availability of water for the livestock. It's another area that has become a challenge. And even for the zero grazing, we also had a case in one of our growers in Kakamega who had an issue with, we had served all the animals, and then there was an issue of lack of water for 2 days, and he lost almost 4 of his animals. And then the other one, inadequate extension services. For those far-flung areas, I think the government needs to improve on that. The partnership between counties and the national government in supporting, especially if we give out the good breeding stock to the communities. If we can get that, if the farmers and the growers can get that support, it will go a long way. On adoption of improved practices, even getting Doba, people used to call us that we are in quail business, because we are telling them this is a business that can fetch us, it fetches millions, and the youth were thinking that it's not viable, and it took time for us to train, linking them, and exposure for most of the people to start adopting 3-4 years later. So the lessons that we've learned from this project in what we are doing: number one, reduced cost leads to improved production and efficiency. Harvesting is an area that we would recommend. In terms of financing, the high cost of loans, and obviously for the youth, they don't even have collateral, so it becomes an area that you might want to look into. And then the other one is access to high quality breeds. I've already talked about that. The climate change, and then the G, extension. Extension, we would recommend that it gets prioritized. Information and communication, this has really gone a long way in promoting us. This week, as I said, we got the order from Kakuzi because of what we are doing. We have also Wasingishu County government requiring 414 ewes and 82 rams. That is around 8 million. And most of these, they are able to find us through social media. So what are the proposed areas looking at KELCOP? we want to, our key area is on breed improvement. We want to support the activities that SkillCorp is doing. We know you have the 4 identified support that model we have, where we have we work as an aggregator. At the same time, we make sure that the people that end up to Kibo's breeding program are able to adhere to the breeding standards. So, and we have a lot of experience in breed multiplication, breed distribution to beneficiary areas. I've talked about serving Elgeyo Marakwet and West Pokot, and then there are other 19 counties to individual farms. And we normally also, for our groups, we normally ensure that they adhere to the operational guidelines. And so that is an area we would recommend that we partner with KELCOP on. We have a strong team. We have infrastructure and facilities to support that. The technical and human capacity, we have 10. Although one of the things that we would recommend is for KELCOP as in upskilling, particularly for the people that work with us. So the other area is on training. We know that training will be offered at the county level, at the community level by your team, but we want to be part of that team so that we share our experience, and we also share the practicality of how to raise Gala and Doba to maturity within a short period of time. So if you can allow us, it's an area that we would like, and we will tailor make that to fit to the requirements of this project. So it's an area that we are very, very keen on. We have strong partnerships from most of these counties, and we want to take that to the ground to ensure that we support farmers. We have worked with those counties on World Bank projects, two projects, the KSEP and LREP, that is the Emergency Livestock Response Program. We are also part of that. In fact, I think in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we should be able to supply to Elgeyo Marakwet under the LREP program. And then for internships, we've had so many people coming to our farm to learn from us. And the model with this, adopt a number of elite youth the communities to come and stay with us, to know how to raise this. Then they will go to the ground and extend the same knowledge. And we are very, very key on the area of breeding, record keeping, ensuring that they understand well the breeding, the record keeping, the requirements in terms of breed selection, breed identification, so that these communities can eventually end up being part of our program, where when we get an organization who requires maybe say 1,000 animals, we can go back to those communities and buy the offsprings, the F1s from them once they have bred well. So if we allow to also attach quite a number of youth to our farms to be able to take them through that, or as an apprenticeship. The other one is livestock feed improvement. The grass type that KPDA talked about, it's an area that we've also worked with in West Pokot, and here in Kisumu we have a farm that we do grow our grass, and we would want to share that kind of experience to quality feeds to the communities in terms of inputs, the grass, the seeds, and even need be the finished product, that is the grass. So it's an area that we would want to work on. On improvement, there was an area about support of behavioral change. We would want to go into the communities and share the story, share the success story of Gala and Doba breeding, so that we get to change and have as many people adopting these two breeds. And on the component of partnership, this is Maseno University. They just gave us an order, and this was Skakuzi rather, with their requirement of 300 animals, and they are collecting that next week. We are now aggregating this weekend from the communities. That's why my partner Edwin was not able to come. So it's an area that if we are allowed, we will also be able to, as long as those farmers are able to breed to standards, we will also extend the same. And whenever we get networks as far as Uganda, we'll pick from those communities. These are some of the activities that we've done. Our Gala goats, our Doba sheep at the farm. This was me supplying West Pokot last year. This was a client in Kagamega. We were supplying. Then we were training farmers in Lomut a week before supply. And then this is construction of Mount Elgon. And we also have a component of kitchen garden that we would want to also share with the communities, that the manure that they get from their sheep and goats, they can use that on their kitchen garden as well. We have a very, very successful garden that we are able to actually get vegetables to even sell to the neighboring communities in such a small area, produced well to standards. So it's an area that we will also want. We were supplying West Pokot here as well, and these were part of the youth that were being mentored in our farm. So looking at sustainability of the project, this is an auction that's ongoing currently as we speak in South Africa, and we would want to breed to standards that this one at around 1:30 p.m. today, you see it's selling for 150 rand. How much is that in Kenya shillings? 150 rand. Convert that by 7, 50 rand by 7, that is 350,000 Kenya shillings. Yes. Even for a ram, it's about the genetics. It's about the genetics. You can check that one like this. I think it's still ongoing now. Most of them were going for 20, 30,000. We want Ifad to get to this level. We want to empower those communities to be able to produce and brand. For example, Ghana. We know that Doba comes from South Africa. They have been very, very keen on promoting and branding them. So this one, you pay 50,000 first for the brand in itself, that this is a product of the best producing country in the world. The same for Doba, you pay 200,000 because it's the genetics, the growth, and all that. And this is where we want to Kelcop to take this project. I'm looking at the future whereby everybody who needs Gala are able to come to the communities that IFAD funded, and we are able to sell at a premium because we are selling quality, not just numbers. And we will have orders coming in. You see, if you look at Doba, for example, people come in from the US, Australia, and everywhere. Just go Google it. You will find that they all flock to South Africa to buy. We were very successful in breeding a few of our cows as a country, but you look, it's the South Africans that are coming to Kenya. They are also going to collect the genetics, breed to standards, and now they are selling our livestock at a premium. Why don't we now brand the same, breed to standards, and sell them at a premium, and own these as a gun, even if it came from Ethiopia, for example. We can own these the same way that the South African be able to see that 10 years from today, Bwana Director, we can be able to sell, even if not 350,000, we can be able to sell it for even 100, 200,000. By the way, for my rams, I sell nothing less than 50,000 from the farm, and people pay. I came here last week when we were presenting, and the Kenap chair was able to buy one of my rams, even without seeing, just by the fact that the PS told him he also acquired a few from our farm, and he was able to pay 45,000 for one ram, 6 months old. And this is where we want this project to the communities, that they're able to sell out of this program, and have our the youths and a few members from the communities to in with us, and also allow our team to train them for a given number of time to share our experience. We are not saying that we are good experts in training, but the experience kind of, we want to take the experience to the field, and that is where we are looking at at Kenya. This is a project we just finished today in Tanzania. This guy has already paid for 8 animals at the farm, and he's coming to collect 8 animals. That is 100,000, and he's coming to collect next week, and we just finished today constructing that. So thank you very much. This was the community that we were supplying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kibois. Reactions?
And from the business perspective, do you have any idea on what category of farmer would be prepared to kind of practice in this very intensive breeding? You know, because I would imagine the quality controls are very high and also probably some capital needs. So I'm just trying to understand what category of farmer would participate in this kind of a breeding program. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that good presentation. Actually, one of the biggest problems that we have in this country is breeds. People are producing those animals, but breed is one of the major issues. And as a government, we need to promote, to work closely with the breeders. It's good that you are doing a good job, but I'm worried about the price. And a small-scale farmer really afford 50,000 per pack. I want also to tell you that we have the best Gala breed in one of our farms, better than the farmers. That one I cannot tell you about the variety species, but for the Gala goat, please go to Marimanti Sheep and Goat. They have the best. Because the pack I was seeing here and the one I saw in Marimanti, they are two different issues. I don't know. I think Dr. can go and also visit there and see for himself. For the ropers, I may not talk much about our farms. But for the Gala goat, I think in Marimanti is the best. I know the project is going to support some of our farms. Most will go to another places, but we need to work together with them. The other issue is that you need also to closely work together with Kagri. If even yourself you want to improve your breed. Yeah, and nothing can stop from government supporting these farmers by even importing breeds from outside in order to avoid the inbreeding. We're importing rabbits at the cost of 35,000 Kenyan shillings. We have National Rabbit Conservation Center, and really we are putting that cost because we want to fix the issue of breeds. So to me, I see you have a role to play in this particular project in terms of providing, but please consider the price. I know you are in business, but remember you are dealing with a small scale farmer. You are not dealing with large scale types of producers. Thank you so much.
Allow me to answer that quickly. Thank you. So number one, I said that a ram is half the flock. If you buy a buck at 45,000, we normally don't sell, for example, the does, it goes for 12,000, but the buck, because of the quality of the genetics that we are getting, even for the ram, we are buying at 200,000, but within that 1 year, it's able to, and I can give you the map of what we had practically. It's able to serve your 80 animals. If it serves your 80 animals that you bought at 15,000, for the colleagues from Kelcop that came to our farm, you saw the quality of the young ones, the F1s that are coming in. You are still able to sell that, and they are still able to gain the weight. So by buying your buck or your ram at 200,000, you divide that 200,000 by the number of sheep that's going to serve, and you can see it's actually less than 5,000 per lamb, and you're able to use it for even 2-3 seasons before you give it to another farmer to avoid inbreeding. So, and this was a concept that we saw it was difficult, but when the South Africans trained us and took us through this. It's an idea that we are now appreciating because we see the results by investing in a RAM. And to change communities, this project should not even think about the ewes. We will get true to type ewes, true to type Gala goats, but look at the bucks and the rams. Get the quality bucks and the rams to your elite community, to the elite breeders. Support us also. It's an area that we are requesting Kelcop to support us. Get us those quality rams, and we will quickly, through our team, we can quickly multiply. And the beauty is we can rotate those rams. When it starts in my farm, it will go to your farm, goes to, after it finishes with your farm, it goes to someone as we get the one from your farm. If we can rotate that, you will have the F1s and change the community in less than 5 years. By the time this project goes out, you've changed the community. After this, if you start thinking of, okay, let's go for the ewes, let's go for the does, it will take forever. You know, for the mother, it can only transfer the quality genetics to the lamb. But for the father, it will transfer to all the kids that will be born in that farm. You get the point? Thank you. It can only transfer the quality to the daughter or the son. So it's about the rams to change, and we've seen that firsthand. In terms of which farmers can try, it's doable. We are, for example, that guy buying from us 800. They are buying 8 animals. We've constructed the house for 39,000. They have bought 8 animals for 100,000, and we were able to loan him one of our young rams from a different part of our breeding group. He will return that ram. We are not giving him, we are giving him free of charge. Because when we get the tender to supply, if Kelgop engages us, he is part of the team that will go and collect the animals, the F1s from. So that's why we are giving him the ram on loan. Granted that we keep following, we have our vet following to see that he is able to manage and keep it well. He'll return it back. So it's actually, it's a nice social inclusion concept that has really developed well. And that is why we can comfortably, if Gishea comes, Kakuzi comes, we can comfortably supply 300 animals by Friday of this coming week. You can imagine 4.2 million going to 7 youth. Some of them, I think some of them far much younger than me. They are all getting, we are all getting at least 700, 800,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Voice, thank you. I think the engagement can continue. Let's get reconciled.
From me, 0727 0727 553 981. You can also check our Facebook page, Kiboys Breeders. Kiboys Breeders. We have a lot of content, we have a lot of training that we offer there, and please also sign up to be part of our breeding program. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. I've been listening to the presentations. I don't know whether you listen to mine now. Thank you. Thank you, Director. Now, my name is Ken Otieno. I work with Reconcile. Reconcile is a Resource Conflict Institute. So far, I think we are the only NGO that is making the first presentation here. Most of the presentations have been of businesses. Reconcile is, we are a national registered organization, and we have been in operation in different countries, including Kenya, Tanzania, and Ethiopia, Uganda. But we have also
been able to do different initiatives that have involved Ifad, both in Kenya and in Sudan. In Sudan, for instance, we supported the government of Sudan through the livestock marketing resilient program, where we were doing what we were calling building the missing link. And we've also been engaged with different initiatives at national level and also at regional level. The value of Reconcile is that we are bringing in the aspect of having had the opportunity to work in the ASAL counties or ASAL countries. And what we do, for instance, in the different ASAL counties is working with the communities in terms of building resilience, building pastoralism, facilitating full participation and engagement in terms of policy work, but also in terms of working with them to make their natural resources more resilient and more sustainable. Our argument is that there are a number of initiatives that have been implemented in the ASAL areas, but we feel that landscape, large level initiatives are not there as much. And therefore, in terms of restoring rangelands, our argument is that whatever has been there or what is going on there, there are small bits and they are patched around. And therefore, we are looking at, a landscape-based approach to ensure that this project is able to restore rangelands. And we are pitching our argument and our relevance from the project document, which already did recognize the importance of rangelands, and particularly if you look at it in paragraph 5, where it's already outlining the things that need to be done in terms of rangelands restoration, but also looking at the entire value chain and livelihood system that is dependent on the rangelands. Therefore, we are putting our case in terms of restoring rangelands, landscape for pastoralists and agro-pastoralists, improve livelihood within the context of the project Kelco. And our area of interest is about component 1, which is climate smart production, but more specifically on sub-component 1.3, which is climate resilient production, with a key objective which is to contribute to enhance sustainability of Kelcop's investment in the ASALs and build resilient rangelands for productive livestock sector. And as I said, it is being built on the context that the project document seeks to establish the status of rangelands governance in 3 counties of Marsabit, Samburu, and Baringo. And those are also the counties that we seek to be working on. We are looking at around 9 outputs, which is strengthened landscape level, rangelands governance and management of pastoral natural resource selected Kelcop counties. And we're also looking at piloting and promoting scaled up effective natural resource management. And I remember when I walked in the morning, one of the things from a colleague from the ministry was concerned about is the environment. Number 3, we are looking at participatory rangelands management. And this is informed by practice, what we have done and the successes that we have registered in terms of participatory rangelands management, which I'll talk to in a little, in a moment. And then we have also appreciated that when you work with communities, they identify their resources, they identify their different sites, and they identify their shared areas of their shared resources, it becomes much easier for them to be able to protect this. But then it also helps the counties or government in terms of planning, and therefore we want to see the production of static and digital landscape and resource maps produced. And we also intend to do around 6 studies looking at the fragility in the rural sector and the agricultural issues, particularly in terms of providing policy recommendations. And then we also seek to establish a framework to foster dialogue and collaboration between different stakeholders to support evidence-based policy making and sustainability of pastoral innovations at the county and national level. Number 7, we are also, again, this is something that we have tested successfully, is Community Livelihood and Investment Fund. established. So we are going to use the concept of Community Rangelands Investment Fund, which we have successfully implemented in Baringo, and a number of communities benefited from that. And community-based rangeland monitoring and improved rangelands monitoring management. So in terms of our areas of priority, cluster them into three. The first one, of course, is land governance, and the second one is on biodiversity conservation, and the last one is on rangelands management. We are looking at building knowledge base, which is informed by studies that will be targeting the issues of land governance, and also ensuring that we work to produce knowledge materials, and particularly handbooks. And I just carried some here, which we did develop with Gilbert. And developing a pack of this, which is being used for, for purposes of planning, for purposes of training, and these have been used partly by the government of county government of Marsabit and Isiolo, and we have also used them for Baringo. But before that, we also came up with a, with a county spatial planning guideline together with the National Land Commission, FAO, and ILRI. So we see building of capacities through TOT, supporting counties to finalize land use plans, and also strengthening tenure resource rights by supporting inventories for community lands in areas for rangelands restoration. And again, we are appreciating that when we'll be working in this rangeland restoration issue, the questions of tenure would be critical when you are doing investments. And if you are not clear in terms of how this tenure is then discussed, then we'll end up looking at more use than the conversation around tenure. And therefore, the transition, we need to use this project also to help the communities to transit from conservancies, which basically is about land use, but then move to tenure conversation, which now the registration of communities through either conservancies or any other restoration units, rangeland restoration units. The second area is biodiversity and conservation management. Again, we are looking at establishing the baseline for Samburu and Marsabit, and I've left Baringo because Baringo already we have had experience for the last 4 years, and we have established a baseline. We are having a new project that is going on, which is also working at now understanding the context of the quality of rangelands there and what it can support, the agro and the pastoral and pastoralism. This is an upscale of the PRM. So we're already seeing that the only thing that we'll be looking at is around 70% of financial contribution. We're also looking at mapping of resources and community mapping to define communities' interventions and the production of biodiversity atlas. And again, this one we already have, but we have done part of it for Samburu Central and Samburu East, where we already developed resource map, look at issues of climate change and conflict trends. And lastly, we're also looking at coming up with the GIS maps, but also before that, there is the issue around community institutional structure, again, which the project emphasizes in terms of looking at the different institutions, committees and associations of rangelands, grazing, and water. Our last area of intervention, of course, as I said earlier on, is we are going to upscale PRM in Samburu and Marsabit because, as I said, we have already implemented this in Baringo, and we are now currently doing another phase in Wajir. And based on that experience, we would want to apply the PRM concept, because we realize that it's a holistic concept which builds community livelihoods, it builds community resilience in terms of restoration of biodiversity, but also looks at livelihood diversity, but also importantly is the building of effective economic base for them. And the approach we are, as I said, is community sub-granting. We realize that if you work with the communities to identify their own project through priorities, then they come up with the most pressing one. And I mentioned in the previous conversation that we were able to even, come up with a Gala goods supply for the Baringo community. which then, in terms of upscale, the county government then, back this up by also supplying livestock. And we find that if communities prioritize this, then it means that we're also building their economic base, but also their, in terms of building their decisions. And we are looking at community rangelands monitoring. Of course, there is a lot of concern, particularly when now it comes to planning. So unless we are very clear, and we need to be very careful, particularly with the, with the such initiatives, because you may end up, also interfering with the, with the system, the ecological system for rangeland. So monitoring this and following through with the communities based on their experiences, we feel that is something that is important. There are a number of policy processes that are also going on in the county. I mentioned before that in Samburu, we helped come up with the rangelands grazing and management policy, which is something that needs to be implemented. There are a number of them are working on climate change, working on on land use plans. Those are things that working with the communities and working with the counties would be something that we are looking at. And I think that would be my last. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother, Reconcile, and that's good presentation. But I want to inform you that we have a project called 20 toward ending drought, which has, I think it's 1 year old now, and it's also working along, the Marsabit and Samburu. It takes the approach of landscape. We have the Saparwawa landscape, the Mid-Tana, and then the Churi Hills in Mombasa area. So it's good, I think, also within the State Department of Livestock, is an area that maybe for Marsabit and Samburu, we can partner. I think the project coordinator can meet this to exactly do so that we don't have any duplication in these two particular counties. The other thing is that first, in our arid and semi-arid areas is not tenable, for sure, because of the effect of climate change. They used to run after the short range, and the short range is no longer there now. So the strategy now is, how do we take animals from the pastoral areas and bring them to the ranches, up to including in the small stock? I think that is the direction that we are now going. And then you talked about the land, the strengthening of land tenure and governance. And the counties are now very much involved in this issue of called the community land registration. I don't know how you can be able to marry the two. The other thing is, I don't know whether Reconcile embraces the issue of conservancy in our rangelands. If you say yes, then I have another question for you. If you say no, I think we will see. Yes, with questions. Basically, when it comes to rangeland restoration and rehabilitation, surely a lot of literature has been written by professors, guys who do the thesis in range management. In my office, if you see the number of documents on this rangeland rehabilitation, it's almost going up to even 150 papers. I don't know how we are going to implement some of the recommendations, but I believe there is no knowledge gap in rangelands and rehabilitation. It's only how do we implement it. Again, the first time they are going to rangelands is this time, and it's going to inform us whether the success of those two counties will inform us whether we will seek for other funders to support other counties. So we need to be extra careful with the fragile environment in the Asal County. We need to do a lot of consultation in these rangelands. Many projects has gone to those areas. Many projects has gone to those areas, but we have never been seeing the impact of that. We have never been seeing the impact. So we are trying to see whether this project will do different things that other programs have not done. If it succeeds, it's a success for this country. It's going to be a lesson that we are going to learn from this particular program. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Director. Any other?
Thank you for your presentation. I want to agree with the Director about the role of studies. The narrative and the direction of government is really now to implement for results, that we have sufficient information to be able to move forward to enhance the people's livelihoods. But my question, you have provided for policy, legal and institutional reviews. What is the gap that you are addressing? And then who is the carrier of that this initiative, noting that the national government has the role for policy formulation and establishment of the same. And I don't know, maybe my memory is not serving me well. I thought Reconcile was more of an advocacy outfit. Am I well misplaced? Please guide me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Reconcile is a policy, research and advocacy organization. So, and our work is land and natural resources. Therefore, we better placed in conversation around land governance, and of course we are strongly known for the customary tenure land. So, and in terms of policy, just so that I dispense with that, I think my presentation is clear. It's gap analysis, because we appreciate that there are policies. But these policies, sometimes their implementation is as a result of lack of synthesis and identification of what the problems are. The project document, I mean, you know, has also identified the need of coming up with the national livestock plan, which, and as I also identified a number of policy conversations that needs to be done. So, because that is an area that we work on, we are defined as rangelands the exploration areas where we didn't support 76. But then the conversation of transition from conservancy to community is a function of communities having knowledge. And our experience with the FAO, because FAO was working in terms of strengthening the districts of the counties, then for us we're working in strengthening communities. Therefore, by the time the community is finished, they realize that they can now move to the next level without reconciling taking it. So that is how we look at conservancies as an entry point. But also because if you're dealing with Baringo, Samburu, like going up there, the land use pattern causes conservancies. So all you need to do is how not to upset what the community system is and bring in a new thing. So that's why we are keen on coming up with these manuals, so that it presents a step-by-step process that we do. In terms of course, community land registration, the county is triggered. But I know that we are also having a problem, particularly in real first land areas, because no one is triggering the process. When the community trigger the process, then you go to land commission, then you are told, when you go to the ministry, you are told, no, it is not the right thing. So you have to go back, and the counties are also holding back. So the thing is, one of the things that we are struggling with is that we realize that is existing between the regulations, the community land regulations, and community land itself, which is the inventory guide. Because communities feel that these guys are dead, so they should the process. Legally, what they are supposed to do is allow the counties to pick up the process. So this is where it is. So for us, therefore, it is important to have the understanding of the community in terms of their tasks, their responsibilities, and also the counties. And I think I'm happy to know more about Shende, and what we need to do is to ensure that there is complementarity. We are also part of the new FAO's land digitalization program, which I know the ministry is part of. And these are things that present us opportunities. We need to look at how.
Thank you, Reconcile. As we say, engagement continues. I think what we need to do is I think it has been a long day. So if you allow us so that we go to the closing session. On a director, you are welcome with the director so that we can be able to have remarks for today so that we can release the partners to go back.
Thank you very much, Moses. I just wanted to make an observation that I think cuts across all the partners who have presented. I think it would be useful to us as a mission team to have a much more detailed partners matrix, because we want to understand the partners at a much more deeper level. I think it would help us in terms of, knowing, for instance, how they are structured, where they operate, who they work with, at least, that one.
Thank you, Edith. I think we'll organize for that, because on Tuesday, we'll also get other partners in Nakuru, but that is noted, and then we'll be able to communicate to them. I'm requesting that you can come so that we do the closing.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's a long Saturday. Some of us should have been looking at us now suffering, yet we are here. But I think it's been a very, very useful day today. Because for me, what I gathered today is the fact that, we have various forms of partnerships. And this is what we really need to map out. We have some partners that want to serve us as implementing partner service providers, for which they want the project to provide them with funding, and then they implement some of the activities. We also have partners that have their own funding, but then they have a business arrangement. They just want to come and do business with the project, and which is also very critical. And then we have other partners that have their own money, they have their own activities, and they want to partner with the project so that they can collaborate and also implement. So we have a diverse form of partnership, but we need to, as Edith was saying, we need to really map them out and then understand their business models, because each one of them is very critical to the project. But then we need to know that in selecting the partners, there are different modalities. For instance, if you want to be a service provider, we have to follow the procurement process, because that's important. You cannot just select partners just like that if they are service providers and you have to give them money to implement and all that. So they have to follow, I think even the rules of Kenya does not allow that. The rules of Ifad also does not allow that. So we have to be careful when we do that. And then we have those partners that can serve as off-takers, which are also very, very important. So we need to really map out the kind of relationship we want with the partners, whether it will be for you, whether they will be paid, we have a contractual agreement and all those things. So we need to do that, and we need to do that very fast. Because like I keep saying, time is really not in our favor right now. We need to really start implementing. I think we've done a lot of the talking, the planning for the past 1.5 years or so. Because many times I hear they say, okay, no, we just came on board in September. But then we had a startup group, 4 people who were also running this project before the new guys came on board. So I understand that there must have been a handing over note. What have they been doing all these years since they came on board? So I think we really need to clarify that. But for today, I think it's been very useful. It's been eye-opening for us. And I really want to thank the partners for taking their time on a Saturday to come and sit with us. We're asking sometimes all sorts of questions to some point that some people think that they're writing their thesis. But it's because we want to understand better so that when we interact with the project next to sell, they start telling them, oh no, we want Kenyatta chicken, we want this other chicken, we don't want, So those are the things that are very, very critical in the community. We need to work with it for you to assess the quality of service, so even know what kind of, their capacity and all that. So you need to really look for a form of journal, and I think that needs to be done as soon as the mission is over. For me, you can even start planning, because I always say, supervision mission does not mean that you stop work and then you wait until you go. Because me, I work at night. None of my work, I've provided no objections as I work here. I am reviewing documents as I am here. So we cannot lock shop and say, okay, until the supervision mission is over, then we'll talk to you. No, you can start talking with them. You can start this discussion. You can start making plans for them to meet with the county teams, and then move forward. You can start working on the PORs for service providers that are competitive and all that. And I'm stressing the area of competitiveness because I don't want the Kenya portfolio to have an ineligible exception. If it does, the whole portfolio over 5-6 projects suffer. So we have to really be mindful of that, especially when we know that we need to be a procurement process and it has to be competitive. And I'm sure all the partners and service providers, they know that they'll be willing to compete. So I want to again thank everybody, and I thank the project. It's been a very eye-opening mission so far. We thank you for all the organization and everything. And we look forward to more interactions. I don't have my telephone number offhand, but I can give my card if we need to discuss further. If you have issues you want to clarify on Ifad, we have what can Ifad do. Myself, Ronald, we are always available to provide support. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think mine is just to close because Madam has summarized everything that I will have said. But I must tell you that this project called Kelco is in line with the current government policy. That's what I can tell you. And it is a project that I'm always proud of, simply because I have something to tell His Excellency the President and my PS and my minister. But I did it. We explained to him. Because he sees that this project is transforming rural livelihood. And that was one of his manifesto, to touch the heart of those smallholders. The president is not interested, although the large scale they contribute a lot to GDP. But to him, he wants to concentrate on the 90% smallholders. He wants to bring them up. And these projects are able to achieve that. Second, I want to thank the project coordinator and his team for that wonderful job. I know my PS has a lot of interest in this particular project. And that was why he was personally here when you were being exposed to this particular project. Was it last week or the last week, part one? Yeah, he was here personally. And what does that tell you? What that tells you is that he is able to deliver through this program, through the KK government. That is why I didn't want to get out of even for the washroom when you were doing the presentation, simply because there was a lot of good things that was coming out of you. You are an asset to this particular project. You are an asset to this particular project. But one thing I want to request you kindly is that if you have resources to support the project, bring it up. Bring it up so that we try to improve the livelihood of our rural people. If you are implementing programs similar to us, we need you. We need you so that we're able to achieve our objectives. We want to see a situation whereby at the end of this particular project, there's one thing I forgot to tell you, and I wanted to tell the coordinator, that the exit strategy must start from day one. We should not wait for the 5th or 4th year. I think that must come out very clear. And when we're dealing with the beneficiaries, when we're dealing with our partners, let it start from day one. And I think somebody somewhere mentioned it. Was it Kipose in his last presentation? The exit strategy should start in day one. I really appreciate that. I think that is the only way we can ensure the sustainability of this project. Finally, I want to thank all the partners who are here, because you have been all seated here the whole day doing the presentation, left your areas of operation, Kazienu, Ukoyote, Muliwacha, simply because you have something to offer to this particular program. It is my wish and hope, and I have no doubt in my mind that this project is going to achieve its objective. Why do I say that? We have somebody who has implemented successful a project, smallholder dairy animals, as the lead person in this particular project. He understands all the dynamics of this particular project. I have no doubt in my mind this project is going to succeed because it's been led by somebody who successfully implemented this particular project. The National Treasury is very keen on value for money. And they have always been telling us that for projects that comes to ministries as a borrower, it must be value for money. They're very keen on it. My dear sister, the climate change sister, it's a hot thing. The climate change is a hot thing in the whole world, globally. We need to mainstream all those things within our project activities. I wish you safe journey back home. We have listened to you. Madam has said it all on how the process, if somebody is to be engaged to work with us, how it's to be done. I think she has guided us. There are guidelines of Ifad, there's a guidelines of government. That has to be followed if we are to be safe somewhere. With those few remarks, I declare this workshop officially closed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, the two directors, for those comments. We are thankful for the partners and all the others who have come. We are grateful. I know we had agreed on the engagement plan with the partners, so that come June, if it is through service provision, once we get the no objection, we'll be able to advertise. If it is for those other arrangements, we'll be able to get through the MOU. So we are planning that come June, we are already through with whatever the engagement we are going to do, so that we can be able to implement the project. Thank you, and wish you safe journey. There's tea available for the team going to Baringo tomorrow. We are supposed to reach Kabarnet by 8:30 on Monday. So I think depending on where you are going to spend, the program I think is with all of you, so that we ensure that by 8:30 we are in Kabarnet to start engagement with the Baringo County.